Chronicle of the Crowns, the great finale. Last session, and probably a lot to do, so we'll go straight in. So last time we had dealt with the local branch of the various faiths of the flame, and now let's remind ourselves of the situation. We are currently in the city of Riathil, city of bridges, one of the successor kingdoms of the old High Kingdom that fractured centuries ago. And we are currently besieged by the various armies, living and otherwise, of an individual who is known commonly as the last king, who was indeed the last king of the old High Kingdom back in the day, who has been revived through various things that we have researched and come across during the campaign here. The last king bears upon his head a very powerful crown of fire crafted by Riathil, who used to be, back in the day, his court sorceress. And the last king is currently more or less taking over seemingly the old territories of the old High Kingdom. And we have been surrounded by the enemy. Now, the front has kind of almost moved past us now. It is winter, so it is fairly difficult now to move the front along too much, because winter is not really the time for waging a lot of war. But it is also a terrible time to be besieged, because supplies are rather scarce, or getting more is very difficult in the wintertime. Anyway, we are in the siege of Riathil. We have marshaled some of our forces. We have dealt with some of the problems at our back. And now eyes turn forward. What doth the king decree? What's the king doing in the aftermath of having resolved our issues last?
Well, riding on the wave of optimism that we have managed to restore to the city, despite problems still very much existing upon the walls, our intention is to gather what leaders we have left, such as Beric, the nobles, members of the Dark Watchers. Them will be here somewhere from the canals. Marshal our forces and ride out and meet the enemy. We've cowered. We've hidden for too long now. Time for us to strike back has arrived.
Right. So the plan as such is that we're going to try and lift the siege in open combat. We're going to put down the gates. We're going to get out there, and we're
been on the defensive for too long.
Yeah. All right. So
I'd like to, if I may, I imagine a scene sort of like just before we're riding out. Obviously the king's sort of in like the king's tent or the king's room or whatever. He's looking at the plans, and he's deciding, yeah, we ride out. Probably Riathil's there. I'm there. I expect Beric's there. All the sort of like the inner council sort of gathered around, so to speak. And after King Cameron, first of his name, has basically said, yeah, this is the time. We're gonna sort of ride out and take it to the enemy. I'm gonna say, my lord, with your permission, I will go to address the faithful of the flame, since I believe that we, as I've said, with the lighting of the bonfires upon the battlements, we should not quail in fear, as you've rightly said, before the enemy. We should let them know that there are still people here whose faith and courage remains, and they have not driven it from the hearts of the people, the good people within these walls. I also have a suggestion, my lord. We need something, I suppose, a rallying cry, if you will. These people have been trapped within the walls of this city. The physical battering of the siege engines is nothing to the effect it will have had on their confidence and their will, being trapped in such a place for so long. We need a rallying cry to spur them to action. So, as you are aware, my lord, I am, as far as I'm aware, still unaffected by weapons crafted by human hands, due to the spiritual blessing that you bestowed on me via my ancestor, the War Master. What I would like to suggest, my lord, is that when the gates are opened, I, holding a torch high, ride out ahead of the main force to engage the enemy, since I will, unless they are using strange magics, I will most likely reach the enemy lines holding a torch aloft. That will hopefully serve as a rallying cry to the people, and you can lead them out in a great charge against the enemy.
I'll be there with you.
No, you misunderstand me, my lord. I believe you should let me ride out alone first, so that the people of Riathil can see that they should not be afraid. And then that will be the rallying cry that you can use to lead them out after I have ridden forward towards the enemy lines. Because out of all of us here, and as I say, unless they wield foul magics against me, I stand the greatest chance of being able to reach the enemy lines. And hopefully, if the people see that there is one person willing to ride out and face them without fear, it will steel their resolve, so that when you call for the charge, they will be, their minds will be set, and they will ride out with you. They need something to spark the fire of courage in their hearts after being trapped in this cold, dark place for so long by the enemy. Your rebirth of people, your purging of their sins, has lit a spark. We must now fan that spark into a glorious flame that will light the way and cast away the shadows of our enemies.
Well said. We've had similar thoughts, Ishmael. I had a plan for you for this day.
Well, of course, if you have specifics that you wish me to undertake, my lord, of course, I have pledged that I will follow your commands.
We face an enemy here that is well versed in magic, so we should not assume that you will be safe. However,
my lord, we are surrounded by a sorcerer's enemy. I don't think any of us are safe.
Yeah, exactly. But you touch upon the thing that I have been thinking of. We're not just dealing in martial prowess. We are dealing in symbols and faith.
Indeed.
Belief, and our faith needs to prevail on this day. I've seen what you can do. In truth, you understand the flame more than I.
Perhaps, my lord, and yet I'm still a Buddhist student. Attempting to find my way.
I hope to understand it, but you are our best hope in this hour. My idea for you, Ishmael, is upon the gate that we ride out from, you and your followers beseech a blessing from the true flame, and that the gateway be wreathed in a protective flame.
It is possible that we could accomplish that, my lord. It's
to inspire these people that when they ride out with us to face our enemy, that the flame rides out with them, and its protection will carry them forward.
Indeed, but the if we beseech the true flame to wreathe the gate in fire, my lord, of course the gate will not travel with us when we ride forwards. But are you wish it to be a symbolic thing, you know, a passing through fire, so to speak?
Exactly. Everyone who passes through it is given the gift of its warmth, and that warmth will, I don't know for how long, but it will shield them against the worst of it as we punch through the lines.
Whilst I believe you're quite correct, my lord, and I believe the effect on morale would certainly be good. I do not believe, even with the faithful here, that we could summon a blessing that would turn aside foul sorcery from all of the people who will fight with us here today. Even with as many faithful as we have gathered, there are limits, my lord, to even what faith can accomplish.
Okay. Then be it a symbol to them, and I will do the rest.
Very well, my lord. If you will allow me but to a few moments to address the faithful, then I will light a torch and I will ride out ahead of your main force to light the way for the rest of the force that you will lead, my lord. And
Okay.
with any luck and with the grace of the flame lighting our way, hopefully we will talk again about this matter when the battle is won. And I sort of offer my hand out to Cameron, my sort of gauntleted hand, knowing that, like, you know, if things go badly, this might be the last time we sort of speak with each other. And I sort of shake his hand. It has been my honour, my lord.
The honour is mine, Shmuel.
I bow, and then I'm going to leave. My plan is to go and sort of gather as many of the faithful of all the various denominations of the flame as I can, so just in like an open area, you know.
Yep.
And once I've gathered them all there, I'm going to speak to them and say, all of us have travelled to this place and to our faiths by different paths, some more straightforward than others. I once fought in the Crusades serving the flame, then lost my way in the darkness of those times, and then rediscovered my faith in the oldest of the flames. And I've tried to pass on a little of that wisdom, to such as it is, to yourselves. But now we find ourselves faced with a deeper and greater darkness, and we have only our faith and our trust in each other to see us through these dark times. I'm not going to lie to any of you here. There is a chance that some or all of us may not survive, and that is why, if I fall, if any of us fall in this battle, any of you who survive must take word of the true flame to others, so that even if we fall here today, this will not be the end of our fight against the darkness, and other people may rise to carry the torch of defiance against all such evils. I look around here now and I see all of you from different walks of life, different places, different levels of society, but we are all united by our belief in the flame and in the king who has been invested with the light of that flame. Trust in each other, in yourselves, and in your faith, and that will see us through this darkness. I must now go. I will to ride out to the head of the force to meet this enemy straight on, and whatever the will of the true flame will have me do is what I will do. And with any luck, I will speak to you all again after this battle is done, and we will go forward into the light of a new dawn. But even if some of us should fall, it is important that all of you who survive carry the word of the flame from this place. Can I count on you? All of you here? Will
I
you?
think there's a sort of clamor as people, raise up their hands, bang weapons on shields, that sort of thing.
And I'm just going to sort of continue. When I say, can I count you? I'm going to say, like, will you all stand together? Will you all place your faith in each other and the flame? So, like, keep like punching in, like, will you do this? Will you do that?
Yeah. There's a response of the flame.
And I'm going to sort of look around, and as I'm sort of like stepping down from whatever raised point I'm in, can I see Mariande anywhere?
That's a good point. Did you have any specific things in mind, Cameron, or was that business finished as far as you're concerned in the underground cathedral?
Oh, with
Mariande, the keeper of the flame.
I, she's not under any kind of arrest. For truly, I don't know if she seduced these people into this belief or it was her own choice. I'm giving her a chance to now make different decisions.
Right.
What she does at the moment is up to her.
Yep, she can be there.
Okay, so as I sort of step down from like some ruins or whatever I've been stood on, like addressing the crowd, as I walk past her, I'm going to sort of like do that thing, you stop and you sort of half turn to look back, and I'm just going to say, if I should fall in this battle, then the people will need wisdom and faith to lead them in this new land. You've been given a second chance, Mariande. Perhaps this is the flame's way of giving you a new path that you will follow. They will need your wisdom.
I have not wisdom or much faith, but I will try.
At which point I'm going to laugh and then say, neither had I when I started. Certainly no faith and probably even less wisdom. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I have wisdom even now. But you at least have a good place to start. And then I'm going to smile, nod, and sort of walk and start getting on my horse. So getting ready to ride out.
Yep. Any further preparations, Cameron, before this scheme is... Also, when are you guys putting this forward? To give you context, I think we would have been in like the early hours of the morning as we wrapped up previously. So at which point in the day are you doing...
I would say ride out fairly early, so it's not the full light of day, but there's enough light to see by, because then like obviously like the flames will like stand out more, of like get people to carry torches and whatnot. But we don't want it to be completely dark, otherwise they won't be able to see the enemy and they'll probably have an advantage. Obviously the final decision is down to the king though.
Yeah.
The sooner the better. We want to capitalize on the momentum while we have it.
So we ride out probably with the dawn.
Yeah.
And as the Sun King appears.
And as I say, I'm going to ride out ahead of the main force, and my plan is basically get one of those big like old ass like Indiana Jones like wooden fucking torches, get on my horse, sort of light the torch, like hold it up high, then I'm going to like ride out ahead of the main force and basically just like charge straight towards like the enemy lines, as sort of like so the other people can see the torch like moving forward, and hopefully give like a bit of a sort of stirring like rallying cry, and hopefully that'll spur people on to follow Cameron as he like follows up and leads like the forces forward.
Yeah.
Also, because if things start getting hairy and I start getting shot by loads of arrows that are hurting me, I can be like, oh, don't fail me now, God's sword. Although that won't go well for the horse if I use that.
No, and to be honest, like if they start putting down a lot of arrows, the horse is gonna have a bad day.
Yeah.
But Cameron, what's your thing as the plan is kicking off? How are you? What are you doing?
So I'm going to instruct everyone to paint either just it doesn't have to be amazingly well done, but it'll either bear a symbol of this new flame on their shield, on their cloak, on their horse, something
Mhm.
that represents. And then as we ride out, I'm going to focus on this with the crown. And
Mhm.
listening to everything that Riathil's told me about this corrupted echo of this crown, to try and give them some protection against this necromancy.
Mhm.
You can
Uh,
decide if this means that they stay dead if they do die, or
so you specifically want the necromancy to.
I don't want them to be able to fall under the control of this other king. Like,
Okay, that is substantially bigger than the necromancy part, though. That is like one half of it.
okay, I don't
'Cause-
know the cost of this. That's the thing, is like I don't know how high I have to
Mhm.
kind of put.
So you want to negate the power of the crown of flame to control people, and also to basically bring them back from the death art part
Yeah,
of it.
it can still hurt them in a sense, but
Yeah.
it's the ability to turn them against us.
Yeah, the control part
Yeah,
of the whole thing.
because that is where everyone else has failed.
Yeah. So that is a very major exertion of will.
I imagine it is.
And this is primarily because you're going directly against the crown of flame, which is also incredibly potent.
Yeah.
So this is you
This is
basically
end of game shiz though. This
yeah,
is what I got.
this is like immovable object meets overbearing force. So yeah, immediately as you start focusing on the crown and extending this power into the world to counteract the crown of flame, it is a huge mental burden. This is you using your mind to push a boulder up the hill.
Yep,
So
I understand.
let's go with willpower roll here.
Do I have to make a difficulty? Do I have to be
Just one, because the king is going to roll against you.
okay? Can I put anything in this?
Absolutely, absolutely, everything you can normally do. So it's roll your will, and whatever Arthur you want to spend, that's fine. Obstacle 1, because it's going to be comparing the results with the king.
Okay. Okay. I don't suppose I can use my reputation won't count in this case.
No.
So I'm just looking at what I could use.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. Basically, there's yeah, sorry.
My Dulciriath wise, I know stuff about the crown.
This is a stat, so you unfortunately cannot fork anything into it.
So it has to be just Arthur, essentially, is all I can put in.
Yeah. And at like a very remote chance would be maybe someone could help you, but I struggle to think who that would be. Basically, either the elven or the dwarven individual who has the crown of their respective people.
Could Riathil help me? She helped make it.
Well, okay, so we rewind time.
Yeah.
Do you want to persuade Riathil to help you?
In this one thing to undo the thing that she made. Like,
yeah, let's
give
it a go.
Can I just say, by the way, I know XP probably doesn't matter at this point, but I'm definitely recommending Matthew for like the humour, Arthur for like. I suppose my kingly reputation will help with this.
It's a very king thing to say, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the night before the battle, I will. I'll say I've not forced you to do anything. You've seen what I try to accomplish here. Tomorrow is the day that I take back this land from the mistakes of our ancestors, and I give it to the people. I don't wish to rule here. I wish to just give them back their freedom, Maithwain, but I need help to destroy the thing that you helped build. Anything now you can tell me, I'm going to use to protect these people against it. And then when
the spirit that you conjured was correct. You will recall that I used certain implements and techniques in the north to restore my craft several years ago in Strathville. That was a turn that it has become apparent that that was a temporary measure. I have very little to help you with. You have demonstrated that there are strands of fate that I have not been able to foresee before. So if you wish, I could extend a hand once. But to do so, I would have to recover my craft again. I have a method for this. We are fortunate that we are in Riathil. It would mean the demise of someone. Would this be agreeable to you?
I have to look at the bigger picture. We have to succeed tomorrow. All of this will be for naught. If you can help in this one thing.
She nods and says, have someone bring Mordred to a chamber in the tower.
I'll turn to one of my aides and in the words of Jean-Luc Picard, make it so.
So Mordred ends up in the same room with Riathil in the Tower of Wisdom and does not come out.
Yeah.
And Riathil,
yeah.
Fast forward, Riathil will be able to assist you in your struggle as you extend the power of the crown. So you can, Riathil can pitch in one additional die for you.
That's good. That may make the difference. It will, and I can put up to 3 Arthurine, can't I?
3 persona.
Persona, yeah, sorry,
Yep.
persona. Yeah, I will do that, and I will hope for the best. And the obstacle is 1.
1. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I will spend what little fate I have to roll those 6s again.
Oh.
Okay.
So 4 then. Yep.
Yeah. I have no idea how pimp this guy is, but
the king has 1 6 in there, so the king is going to use one of his fate points.
oh boy.
Oh.
We equal.
So then I propose that we move on to a different arena in the conflict here.
Okay.
So because your wills are matched,
Equally
now.
matched.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, we know that yours isn't because Riathil is helping you, but
That's fair. That is fair. Her help did make the difference there, though.
So, I'm thinking fort is maybe a good one here as a struggle of the wills is transformed into how long does the vessel hold.
Okay. So again, this is just a
Just a straight up fort. Rathwin cannot help you with bodily integrity.
No, it's gonna have to
Unfortunately.
it's gonna have to just be a straight roll, isn't it? I need to save my Arthur for later though, so I'm gonna have to just roll this. Oh, come on. I've got attacks. What? Where's that attacks? Oh, it's from casting a spell before. That was like sessions ago. I can remove
Yeah.
that, right?
It shouldn't be there. Yeah,
So what would that have taken a dice away from me?
yeah, it would
You'd
have.
get a 6 in that though.
Yeah, I'll
Mhm.
roll the one I would have got, and I'll use my
Yep.
fate.
Mm-hmm.
Come
2.
on.
Oh, the king is doing it again.
Okay. Well, that's my
So-
fate gone. Okay.
3 total. Yeah. Okay. So here goes the
You know what they say, King Cameron? 3 minutes in heaven's better than 2 minutes in heaven.
Wow.
Okay.
Onto a third arena.
So it is a Herculean effort that you're putting for, like, you are
Yeah.
on your knees on the battlement right now, just trying to like stay conscious with the basically you're drowning in a sea of
Ishmael.
silver now.
Ishmael,
Yeah,
do you have anything that could fortify me, like with your potions or anything? Anything that could stabilize me with your herbalist? Please help me.
I confess I do not have the resources of my herbalist craft, my lord. Perhaps if you join me in prayer to the true flame, perhaps we can
Yeah.
perhaps
I
we
could do
can
that.
beseech it for aid to fortify your soul against this dark presence.
Wait, okay, wait. I do. Wait, I have something else. I have
I'm
a
gonna try and
thing.
get my prey on to like give him a bonus.
Okay. To the next thing.
Yeah. So I'm basically going to gather some of the faithful around, basically so we're praying to the king as like the symbol of the flame in this conflict to like fortify him against the sorcerous malevolence that he must face. So hopefully I can get an extra dice out of the faithful. And then I'm going to go for the blessing, which is like obstacle 3, to give him like a +1 dice bonus to whatever his next challenge is. So let me see if I can do that then. Oh, and handily, that's a routine check. I need one more of them. Okay, so
Now, theoretically, this would not be possible in the time frame that we have, because it's the same thing is still going, but this is good. This is good. This is thematic, so let's go with it.
I'm going to dump a persona into it, because why not? When am I going to be here again? Okay, so 1 for the advantage of the faithful, 1 for the Arthur dice, base obstacle 3.
Oof.
It's only 2 and there's no 6s.
Oof.
Not enough, I'm afraid.
Oof. So, with that, I do think that we're going to use. It's in the codex, I believe. The
We've
codex
never
has-
reached this stage before. We've gone this far.
So, yeah, it is unfortunate that the I do believe that the fire that our believers are channeling here is actually absorbed by the crown of fire.
Okay.
So the power that was conjured up gets stolen by the crown of flame, and the king is gonna get the +1. As soon as we figure out which thing we're doing here, do you have any suggestions, Cameron?
I was gonna say steel.
Steel sounds
Steel-
yeah, steel sounds good, because that's we've tested your power to exert your will. We tested your physical ability to withstand the thing. Now we're testing, like, do you flinch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
so,
It's like he's running on empty, and it's like, oh, can I just like hold it together long enough?
Mhm.
Now, one of the reasons I picked steel, and this is an interpretation of the rules I'm looking at. Like,
Mhm.
I have the fearless trait.
Yep, which gives you some extra.
I think it makes it either gives me a bonus or it makes it more difficult for the opponent.
No, it gives you bonuses. So let's look at your shit here.
Into the
Fearless. Here we
traits.
go. Reduce hesitation for pain, fear, and the shock of gore and death by 3. So what we're looking at is your base hesitation is 6. So that would be 3 then. So you can roll your steel. I'm not sure if it picks up the hesitation by default, but I would suggest before you roll the steel, add on 3 to where your hesitation is 6 currently. Put
All right.
3 in
Okay.
there and then roll your
Okay.
thing.
I'm gonna put 2 Arthur into this. I'm just gonna hesitation reduced it to 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Conditional orbs. Is it not rolled?
It has not.
Mine took a little while before it appeared when I did my faith roll.
Okay. Huh. I did roll it.
I'm gonna just do a random roll here.
Yeah.
See if anything is
Reduce it
going.
to 5. Okay. Okay, let's try this.
Well, that went off
I'll
immediately.
try again.
So.
Okay, so submit that. About 2 of those. Hesitation orb is 3. No conditional orbs.
Look at that roll.
Holy shit.
Look at that roll.
I don't have any fate left to re-roll.
But you already re-rolled those.
Oh,
You
yeah.
would get extra die for faith here.
Dang, son.
That's the
Look at
highest
those
success
rolls.
I've
Look
ever
at
got.
dem 6s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reason why he got 12 successes on 8 dice.
King Cameron's been saving up all of his epic rolls for like the final fight.
Okay,
Dude, that's the highest success I've ever got.
so this is
This is
your moment where like the beads of sweat coming down, you think this is it, I'm gonna fail, but you dig in, like the power of friendship moment, like you,
Do you know
you
what's
push
the
on
weirdest?
through.
Do you know what's the weirdest thing that I think of? It's like it's not the true flame.
Mhm.
It's not.
It
It's not
is the true
it's
flame.
not- It's not. It's not the crown. It's not. See, Riathil top, which is great. It's not the army. It's the thing that was said to me yesterday that I'm the progeny of this epic creature that
Mhm.
wants to destroy the world. And even though I may be a shadow of its true self, I am linked to something greater than me.
Mhm.
And I have a straight line to something much stronger, and I draw upon the foxfires. And what I imagine happens is all like the native foxfire elements that I've gained, like the shadow, the eyes, and my familiar, which is always by my side. They blazon into almost a true flame-esque shape briefly as I.
Oh no, not at all. Because the true flame has, as far as you know, as far as we know, nothing to do with your ancestor.
No, I say it's not an actual true flame. It's like it just blazons up into like a flame-like visage briefly.
Yeah, I imagine like you developed like a halo of northern lights for a moment there as you sort of you're physically like crumbling as you're fighting this battle of wills.
I like to imagine Cameron's like sort of falling to his knees. It's a bit of sweat pouring off him. And then, like, he sort of does that bit, like, you grit your teeth and you sort of force yourself to stand up, and he's like, my ancestor is going to destroy this world. I do not fear you.
Because while I am obviously a child of the Flame King, I am linked to that ancestor. He is not of the Foxfires, which I am.
No.
Which trumps his card.
I have priority.
Just like Cameron standing up like, it's just been revoked.
So the king got 6, so
Yeah.
you win that one. So I'm gonna quickly go over to your sheet there, and well, we really pushed that one in, so we're gonna go and do not that. We're gonna do that.
Just think in the
Cameron.
future,
What I think happens, and this is like mine, because obviously what I intended to happen hasn't happened because I didn't just get it off. My intentions happen. What's happened is I've gained the effect I want, but it's not the flame symbol that emblazons. It's like 2 foxfire eyes that appear in everyone's shadow. It's like,
Just think
As they
though,
become-
in the future,
yeah.
King Cameron, when people who were here on this day will be like, I was there when King Cameron spiritually kicked the false king's back doors in.
So,
This might be the first time he's lost in any capacity in a long time.
could very well be.
Hopefully it was
Because
second
no one
back
else
a bit.
has this card. So, along with the morning, very strangely, come northern lights as well, lighting up the sky as we go forth from this point in time.
As we head out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
what I'm hoping to do is, like I say, because I'm going to be riding out ahead of them with a torch, is in the sort of Lex like Brunanji style, because I know obviously I was raised in the worship of the old flame. Basically, get everyone to start doing that thing where they like bang their shields and doing some sort of like battle hymn of like the flame, and then sort of like as that sort of like reaches a crescendo, I'm going to like light this torch, and I'm going to like charge forward with like a sort of battle cry, sort of straight towards the enemy lines, to sort of basically light the way for them.
So the attack begins. Where is the king? We know very well where Ishmael is, what he's doing. What's the king doing?
So he will be at the front with his faithful, and I will be essentially be the second.
I'm not with the faithful. I'm literally like just riding out on my own with like a torch.
That's what I mean. Like it goes you, then your men, but obviously your head, and then I'm like, no, sorry, just not my mic there. I'm like in the next wave with the main force.
Okay.
Not that I'm scared of anything, it's just so I could then encapsulate as many people as I could into this protection. And Riathil can be with me if he wants. She wants. My War Master's got to be with me, and so is my Captain of my Guard.
That's a good point, because now Rathawen is... I hadn't originally planned for this, because Rathawen did not have anything she could really do. But now that you very explicitly approved the the demise of Mordred, which Rathawen is using as her stepping stone back into being what she was.
Yeah. If
She
she's
could
there,
actually-
then she gets the protection as well. Like if she comes out, then she will be similarly shielded.
Yeah, I presume so. I presume this is like everyone from the city.
Yeah, everyone who's fighting the age and can.
Every
It's
man,
coming.
woman, or child who is old enough to carry
Well,
arms.
I was serious in my request. Like that one thing I asked of her is this. I will like. It's up to her now what she wants to do. She's free to do what she wants. I'm not gonna ask.
Well, she's going to ride with, but she's only going to defend herself.
Do you know what'd be really cool is if like it turns out that the story of this whole thing is written from Riathil's perspective. Like it's actually she's the chronicler because she's the one that survives. Like that would be quite cool if it turned out like in a future campaign.
She has great capability of doing exactly that. Now, did not previously. Previously, she probably wouldn't have gone out of the city now with the siege going, but now that Mordred's taken a trip upstate and Rathawen has reinvigorated herself, she could do a lot of things, but she is, she is sticking to her sort of guiding light here, which is don't interfere. And she sort of put that on you as well by saying, okay, I can't really help you, but if you want me to help you, we could
You have to
kill
make the
Mordred.
decision.
So if you want to make that call, cool. Okay, now I can help you. Ishmael.
Sorry, very, very quick question. I know the answer to this, it's just gone out of my head. What does it mean when an ability is open-ended?
You automatically reroll sixes.
Right, okay. In which case, before I ride out, I am going to try and do a prayer to the flame, because I can ask for a boon which will allow me to make an ability open-ended. And I want to basically pray for like strength to my sword arm to like try and make my sword skill open-ended.
Yep.
And That's I'm just going to make a straight roll on my own because this is like just
Yep.
my private like proud just before I ride out.
Yeah.
It's-
Private vigil.
That's it. It's obstacle. No, it's obstacle 2. So, watch me flub this now.
Flame, don't fail me now.
Don't fail me now. It does not. Oh, it does not. Wait. Oh wait. No, I didn't. No.
Oof.
It has failed me.
Oof.
Perhaps a bit of doubt's creeping into me.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's the cursed sword I wear at my waist.
Yeah, maybe
Thought
it's the
about that.
sword. Maybe it's the fact that now that we're using the crown for the one purpose that we sought it for, it was the first time we used it, and Cameron almost failed.
So
Maybe there's that bit of a.
the way I'm
thing.
going to sort of phrase this in my mind as I sort of pray, because I presume I know like in character that like my prayer has not been answered. The way I'm going to sort of like contextualize it, Ishmael's going to contextualize it, is that he's sort of praying for the flame, and the flame.
It's already with us.
The flame's basically saying that, you know, there's some points when you need to sort of stand alone and you can't just rely on like prayer, you know, like now's the time for action. So he's just going to sort of like grit his teeth, like finish strapping his armor on, get his torch and get ready to go for death or glory.
Right. So I asked it. I don't remember anymore what your answer was. Cameron, where are you as we start the assault? Where does
Like I said,
the
so
king
I'm
arrive?
behind Ishmael's faithful like
Yeah.
vanguard,
Okay, so
and I'm
you're
with
still
the
in the
rest.
spear tip, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to
All
be
right.
there.
All right, good. So I think we can resolve this with like one big honking single roll, right?
Oh boy.
Unless you have any other sort of we do a link test. We could do one roll each, like one for the armies, one for your people. How do you guys want to do it?
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's all right, I'd like to. I don't know exactly how to phrase this. I'm open to like guidance on this. It's obviously like the point of me riding forward on my own, and like the sort of to try like inspire like the people behind me following up. So if I can sort of make some roll to try and inspire them with the idea of like say like giving them a boost to their rolls when they make it, because that's the whole point of me going out on my own, to basically be like,
So okay. So it sounds like a link test, unless Cameron has anything against that.
I'm fine with that.
Cool. Let's go with the link test. That's good, because that allows for us to have a couple moments of like here and there of things happening and some granularity as well. So in order to do that, though, what is our intent? Is our intent lift the siege? Is our intent rout the army? Is our intent punch through and find the last king? Because previously Cameron was talking about how the king is the linchpin, like nothing else
That's
really
what
matters.
that's what I want to do.
So what is the intent?
that's how I was imagining it, like sort of spearhead, smash through the enemy forces, get Cameron or myself to like the false king, and then sort of cut the head off the serpent.
Right. So punch through the siege. It might have other effects like routing the enemy or lifting the siege, but our intent here is punch through the siege lines and then find the last king, and then we'll pick up from there as the sort of other thing that we're doing. But okay, so that's good. So we can definitely start with Ishmael here, because Ishmael's thing is like you're the first and you're gonna hope to give more to the guys who come behind you. So what are you rolling to inspire the folks back home?
I'm hoping to use my doctrine, because I'm sort of leading this based on all like the faith of the flame. I'm getting everyone stirred up with their like faith. So I'm hoping to sort of like use that, because I'm sort of trying to make myself into like a symbol of the flame, like riding forward with the torch and whatever.
Yeah. It is an unorthodox way to look at this thing, which is good. So
I'm hoping I can fork my which I've rarely got to use, but my campaign-wise skill in, because obviously I'll have led men before. I know a bit about trying to inspire them for a battle. So
sure. And you are literally in a campaign now.
And if I can fork in persuasion as well, that'd be great.
Yeah, because you were. This is because you.
Can I assist him from
Like,
down here?
all of my skill choices have led me to this moment.
Yeah. I finally my character sheet. Is it all coming together?
All is unfolding to my design.
Cameron, if you have a thing you'd like to offer in aid, that is possible.
Well, I've got persuasion as well. I could.
That's good.
I don't know if my reputation can help him, or is only a reputation just for me.
No. The reputation doesn't.
Okay.
Any chance I can use my reputation as like an old war hero?
No, that's only for circles.
It's fun. So I'm on +3 at the minute with the 2 I fought and the one that Matthew's giving me.
I'm gonna give you. Yeah.
There you go. Let's give it a go.
So this is going to be our, like, when the lines meet. Like, this is our initial, like, now we're getting into the fight with this roll. So we're going to see how this goes.
Okay. So,
how does the initial fight go?
So 3 for the fork. Don't have any author dice spend on it. What's the obstacle are we looking at?
37. What?
I think let's go with 3 because the idea is you're trying to affect people with this, and it's sort of baseline 3 for mental faculties.
Look at that.
There we go.
Boom.
There we go. So, yeah, you meet the obstacle. So the lines meet. Ishmael crashes into the enemy lines. Somewhere along the way, because you were literally the first, your horse will die as we move on here. So you ride probably north because that's where the big, that's where the king would be.
Yeah.
Possibly. So you open the north gate, you ride out the entire army, everyone who can. We're doing this is it. This is the last one. This is the last ditch.
Yep.
Everyone's coming after Ishmael, following the torch, lifted up by the various miracles that we've seen displayed in recent moments here. And the enemy wasn't really expecting this, so there's a lot of disarray before they can get their stuff in order, which allows us to actually get to where the fight is going to be much, safer and generally in better shape. So we are now fighting the siege. This is it. We're in there. We're doing well so far. I suppose the next thing might be like, can we punch through? Like, can we sort of quote unquote defeat them so that we can move on from here? Yeah. Cameron, do you want to do? I'm just gonna ask some questions there. It doesn't need to go down like this, but do you want to roll for your portion of this thing? Do you want to roll for how the fight is going to go, or how you're going to find the king? Because I see those as the 2 big ones that we need to deal with here. Like, we need to win the fight, and then we can move on. Whichever one you choose, the other one is going to be rolled for by, the your side, like the fighters on your side.
I'm gonna try and find the king, I think.
Okay, so the army is gonna roll for the fighting.
Yeah, I've given them what I can, like in terms of protection. I'm not a marsh. Like, I'm not a fighter. That's an old joke.
I'm a medical king.
You know what I mean? I've given them what I can. I don't have the martial might, as it were, to just directly engage. But I'm here.
Well.
I have magic.
We know about what you can do if you set your mind to it.
Yeah. But my thing is with the crown is I think the use of the crown is, it also reflects on the kind of person that you are. So if I start using it for destruction, then it's going to affect me. I think I've lasted this long because I'm not doing destructive acts.
You're not using it for violence and destruction. Okay, so the army is going to do the fighting. So I will just very quickly do a
I'm hopefully Beric's going to help out here. We've got my undead war master who's probably having the time of his life. Undive.
Yeah, no,
he's having a great time now.
He is. This is what he was brought here for.
Yeah, he's having
a year ago. He's like, yes,
yes,
it's about time.
But the thing is, we are abstracting a lot here, and while you guys have a couple of sort of quote unquote like heavy hitters on your side, like people of significance and ability, so does the enemy, including the sorcerer that Ishmael was fighting and broke the staff of. They have air superiority. Like there's nothing comparable that you guys have when it comes to the giant sea eagles. That
the selection of forces they have is pretty good.
Yeah. So overall, it's. I'm just gonna roll a die of fate here. So small, bad, large, good. So let's go. Okay. So it's bloody going. As you predicted it would be. Like there's no way this could have been easy. So I think one of the big problems is really the fact that while you can have some bowmen shoot as you charge out, really there's not a lot to be done about the birds. So
yeah,
Ishmael.
Okay,
thoughts.
So presumably, if I've seen this going on, I've seen like the tide of battle because I'm in it. Like I say, my horse is dead. I'm like fighting on foot, still trying to like use the torch and whatever. Seeing like the air superiority going on. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to activate the Wanderer's Lament using the Cursed Flame of Riathil to make myself like massive.
So
because I'm like in the middle of the enemy, so I'm just like flailing around like smashing the enemy cave crawl styly. And my hope is that by me doing that, because obviously I'm gonna try and like I'm a bit ahead of our forces. There's none of our forces around me that I can tonk if I go a bit berserk. By making myself bigger and sort of kicking this off, I'm hoping I will like draw some of the enemy's like forces away from the rest of our army to like deal with me. Because by making myself like a big target, basically.
So, in order to do that, you need to invoke a faith miracle.
Yep.
So, let's get.
Just gotta have faith.
A minor one, luckily not the big one.
Yeah. So minor one is that obstacle 2, 3.
I think it's 5.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking boons. It's
yeah.
Minor miracle obstacle 5. Yep. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Farewell, last persona point. I barely knew you.
Oh, before we go ahead with this, if you have one and you would die, you can spend that to have the will to live. Just mentioning it.
Yeah.
Just so it's there.
So that's fine. I've just spent my last one anyway. Okay. Are there enough of the faithful around for me to get any bonus, or am I too far away from?
I think they probably won't be able to help with this, even if they were there, because this is kind of a you thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
At the end of the day.
Okay. I'm not hopeful for this, but let's see. Oh, it's a 6.
Well, yeah, but it's already re-rolled that,
Oh,
but
of
you
course,
can add
yeah,
on
I'm
one
not-
if you have faith. Yep.
Why not? I'm not expecting it to work, but I'll give it a go.
Well, it's a 50-50, so
Hey!
there we go. So, oh man. So Ishmael, it's like armor bits fall off, the cloak just rips. We have so like massive stature isn't like several buildings tall, like it's not that, but Ishmael is empowered by the cursed flame of Riathil, now imbued in the sword that he carries. And as is the nature of that particular flame, it tends to exaggerate certain things about people that it basically, I don't know, violates curses. So Ishmael becomes, let's say, so if like a tall person would be maybe 2 meters. So Ishmael's standing like 1.5 meters above people on the battlefield and is shedding armor and cloth, being very prominent as he does so.
Yeah, and obviously, because I'm deliberately trying to like attract their attention. Obviously, I've not like gone berserk yet, so I'm not taking any damage.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be basically sort of like screaming defiance at them and sort of like shouting like prayers to like the true flame as I wield the Wanderer's Lament, trying to draw as much attention towards me as possible. Because I'm hoping they'll be like, oh, that guy suddenly got big. Maybe he's got some magic. We should deal with him. And then hopefully that'll buy Cameron and the rest of the army a bit of time to like do what needs to be done. Because I'm like, oh, we don't have any flying things or enough archers to like deal with that.
Yep. So I'm on your sheet here, messing around. Character gains the... Okay, there we go. And then we're jumping back over here. And
I need to do a bit like Bruce Banner in the Avengers. I'll be like, that's my secret. I've always been a bastard.
so, in accordance with being afflicted by the accursed flame now, Ishmael has gained a new emotional attribute called corruption at 1. So,
Welcome to the team.
we can now give a roll here. So, this one here, John.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yep. Please feel free to select either column to roll on. The roll will be 1d6 plus 1. So that's the range you're going to be working with. And you can select either one of these, and then the next time you gain more integer in that ability, you'll roll on the opposite column.
I'm going to go on the primary trait one, if that's all right.
Yep, that's cool. So you can roll 1d6 plus 1.
3. Marked.
Marked. Okay, very ominous.
I'll take that.
So Ishmael has become mocked. So Ishmael will be haunted by ravens and other creatures attuned to the darkness.
Well, I'm hoping if like a big flock of ravens appear, that'll doubly make them think I've got some magic.
Yeah. No. There's certain wildlife will be attracted to Ishmael's presence as we go on. So let's just quickly, I'm adding that on your sheet here. Marked.
What can I say when it comes to corruption, as in all things, where King Cameron leads, Ishmael follows.
Yep, Ishmael follows.
Somewhat of a pioneer in the corruption game.
That's it. Many are called, few are chosen.
I was corrupted before it was cool.
He's a corrupt hipster. I was corrupt before it was all the cool new thing.
Ishmael, much like your boy Cyrus the Great, was it Cyrus in the movie 300? I forget the Persian god king. Anyway,
yeah.
Ishmael stands above the clashing armies, like onto a giant, I suppose, in comparison to everyone else, and is attracting a lot of attention here with everything that we've discussed along here. So that being the case, again, we're diverging from utter protocol here, but this is all good. This is all very evocative. So I'm gonna say that as we are homebrewing the process here, because of Ishmael's great success here and his new gained infamy really in the eyes of the enemy, we are going to, as we were going to anyway, we are punching through the enemy lines. Now, not everyone is following us because the fight is not finished. It's just that we have managed to push the spear tip through so that we can move on.
We're pushing through, yeah.
Yeah. And now, concluding that the battle, like we have good odds in the battle, the spear tip, which I presume that was the original idea, unless you guys say otherwise, that we would punch through and then whoever gets through is gonna go and find the king, right?
We're gonna stop him. Yeah, that's the
so
plan.
your compatriots, your comrades in arms, are gonna continue the fight that you're gonna leave behind, and you have concluded that that's they have a chance, so that's all we can do. And now we're going for the head of the serpent here.
Yeah.
So you, in a mad rush as the sun rises, the dawn creeps over the lands, and bizarrely, accompanying the light of the dawn, the sky is covered in wreathing northern lights as you rush through the woods.
Fucking Cameron, the Sun King.
Nothing.
I'll sort of bellow
Says-
in biggened voice.
Yeah, it says Ishmael, now striding in great leaps because your horse died and you wouldn't fit on one anyway. So you're
How long do you stay big for?
he's gonna stay big for a while now.
Okay.
It's gonna be like when we get to the king, that's gonna be it. Like that's a different scene. But for the war here, Ishmael will be embiggened.
And now do I have to figure out where he is?
Yeah, now you lead us to the king
So
as you
my
charge through the wintry woods and hills.
so my idea is that when I've used the crown early on, my sensory perception did change.
Mhm.
And that's when I first encountered the darkness.
Mhm.
And I believe that if I send out my senses again, I think that I can, through the crown, I could pick up another powerful conduit. And I
Mhm.
think that one of a similar kind of essence to myself will be out there, and I should be able to pinpoint them because there's not going to be anything else out there like him.
Mhm.
That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
Could I also ask a question with regards to that? Obviously, feel free to say no. It's just something I thought of earlier. Since the prayer I did earlier, like the essence of like the true flame that I was trying to like bless the king with, was sort of like stolen and like snaffled up by like the false crown. And given that King Cameron by now was sort of mashed in with like my faithful and they're pushing through and whatever, and he's surrounded by my faithful who are also sort of like linked to the essence of like the true flame, could he effectively use that sort of faith around to help him like zero in on the stolen power that's like in the false crown?
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. So you can they can assist you with that, with the fact that they are a conduit that you could tap on. Yeah.
I'm guessing this is perception. I guess that's what I'm gonna.
That's entirely the thing, to see things. So yeah. So you're using, basically, I'm imagining this as, if you guys remember the it's always a reference back to Tolkien, but that's just what our game is.
That's the
Tolkien and Dark
ethos.
Souls. That's it. So I'm imagining the I forget, was it called the seat of far seeing, whatever that was, the stone throne in one of the ruins that the Fellowship goes into, and Frodo sits on that throne and sees things. It's like an enchanted throne in one of these ancient ruins that is basically imbued with the like far sight. So I'm imagining that sort of thing where like your vision doesn't necessarily go like wizard vision, but your sight travels far beyond what.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, great. So yeah, that's a perception thing that we're gonna roll for, and I think the king, because you're trying to follow.
Also, he's probably not trying to hide himself. So
No, that like there's this stuff that we don't understand about the king because we've never really met the person, but there's things that affect this here thing. So I think it's going to be, it's like an obstacle to
right. Okay.
zero in.
So what help does Ishmael's flame? One.
Die.
Okay. How much does the crown? Because I'm using the crown as to sort of boost out my senses. How what?
Do you want to use the crown to? So what I'm hearing, I want to use the crown to facilitate this do you want the crown to do this?
I want to
Yeah.
help me. I don't want to. I'm not
Oh.
opening the gates yet. It's just more of I'm just a sliver just to help me pinpoint.
Okay. Well, if you want to tap in for an extra die from the crown, that is also possible.
Then I will do that. Yes.
And as always, like there's like the tab is open.
I'm keeping
right?
I'm keeping my ass dry for the moment because I need it. I need it. And base 2. Yes.
Yeah. So your vision travels, and at the edges of your vision, there's darkness that is creeping in as you're doing 2 things with the crown, and you're pushing yourself up.
Yep, I know.
1
I'm getting
here.
close to the next.
No, you're there.
Oh, I'm there. Okay.
Yeah. So, cool. Last time we had the aura of malevolence. So now we're on to the alternate column. So, 1d6 plus 5.
Okay. Okay, that's not
6.
actually.
Oh, that's no, that is 100% positive. That is 100% positive.
For anyone listening in, I've just gotten regeneration.
Yeah. So I'll add that on your.
That's amazing. That's
Yes.
like the game just going, all right, you're about to meet a king who's probably gonna smush you, but here you can recover faster just in case.
Which, like, it's you're free to interpret it however you like, but I find it to be very, suggestive here that we have Ishmael invoking what we know to be the cursed flame of Riathil to embody some of the bestial aspects that we know that flame creates, and now the darkness is closing in on you, and you're imbued with further like physical resilience, perhaps an unnatural fortitude. There's some themes going on here. Good. All right. So you got that. Wonderful. And your vision travels at the edges. The darkness is sort of shadowing your sight, but your vision travels through snowy forests across a couple of hills, and there in the distance you can see a river fork, which is not that, like, it's nothing special around the riverlands here, but your vision carries you, or your vision is carried by the crown to a hill, and the city that sort of exists as the sort of hem or skirt around the hill, and then the fortification that exists squats on the hill, and you know that this is the castle of Siramon, where the last king of Dol Siriath currently makes his lair. Inside the castle of Siramon, in the town of Siramon.
How far from here is that?
It's if you ride hard, it's a day without rest.
Right. Okay. I'll let who is still among me know I have located our target. I think we should ride hard. Should take some rest, maybe to give the wounded here a chance to hatch up.
Well, obviously the battle's still going on here, though, isn't it? So it's not like we can all just sort of up sticks and ride. I mean, to be honest, I can't ride at all at the minute because we don't have a big enough horse. So it might be, if you're going to do that, it might be an idea for like me to stay here and like carry on leading the fight here to tie up its forces. Then the king take like basically like his strike force and ride for the castle and see if you can take the last king, and we'll sort of hold out here as long as we can and like buy you as much time as we can.
But I need you, Ishmael.
As I say, though, with my current size, I'm not going to be able to ride with you. That's literally not an option, and we don't really have time for you to go like, oh, let's wait for the next scene to then ride out, because like there's a big battle going on. We don't have time.
Okay, here's what we'll do. You lead the forces back here until you return to your normal magnificence. See if you can conclude the battle. Once you believe it's even if we lose, do not linger. Return to me. Understand?
I understand. We'll do all that we can here, and we'll buy you as much time as
I will ride.
we can.
I'll ride for the fort, but I need. If you can get here, even if it is at the end of the battle, we all have our part to play in this.
Take Beric and some of the other fighters with you. You'll need them.
Do you have my sword? Says Beric, his eyes gleaming.
I'm going to turn to the war marshal and say, and what of you, war marshal? Will you ride with the king, or will you stay here?
While competent personal combat is not why I was called for my rest, I excel in the war room. I shall stay.
Well, I must say, I relish the thought, no matter how this turns out, I relish the thought of fighting against one of my ancestors, against such a foe. Go now, king. We'll buy you all the time we can.
Ha! And if you die gloriously, I shall give you a cup of mead in the halls.
I'll make sure it is a story worth telling. Return to me, Ishmael, once it's done.
My king.
Even if I am no more. Wraithwin, the choice is yours. You go where you will. The rest of you, it's me. And off we ride.
So I'm going to roll because I truly do not know what Riathil is going to decide. So
she could help with the battle. That is a bonus
because
she could
like
do.
she could, now that she is once again in use of her powers.
Again, she might want revenge against this thing that's had her under control for so long. So it's
small. She's gonna stay with the larger battle here. She's gonna go to the castle of Ceramon. She's going to the castle.
Well, there you go.
So, what's the plan? We're gonna have Ishmael rejoining the greater fight here, and the king is gonna do what?
We're gonna ride out. We're gonna ride until it gets dark, and then we're gonna make camp to try and give people who are wounded a chance to some first aid. At daylight there is little cover, so we might as well ride during the day. At night we should rest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
right.
and obviously I'll make I'm gonna get someone to write out my last will and testament kind of thing to give to Beric, because he's essentially who I named my heir for the future. So just some thoughts.
The last thoughts and testament of
Cameron.
Special K. So I think what we're going to do then is we're going to go split screen with Ishmael and the battle and the king riding to the north to the neighboring kingdom of Ceramon. Right. Ishmael, then, I think we can resolve this.
Okay.
Again, very abstract rolling here. So what would Ishmael roll to cast off the sea? Sword.
If you had an idea, I have an idea for a miracle that really would be pretty awesome if you could pull it off.
Yeah, chances are fairly slim at the minute, given the amount of persona I've not got.
Okay.
Bear in mind that a miracle's like 5, and I'm only rocking like 4 5.
Pulled it off a few times.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's much less likely now. I don't have the persona. What was your idea though, my lord?
So you essentially you command it to rain, but it's essentially like a holy rain just over the battlefield, just so that it burns the fuck out of these birds, forces them to take shelter or flee, giving you a more of a ground-based combat which you can then deal with.
No, I think that's going to be a bit out of my league with the scope of that, unfortunately.
Well, it's only a localized area though.
Yeah, but it's like affecting multiple people. It's
Only a couple of thousand. I mean,
yeah. Well, see my previous comment about being out of my league. I am, however, going on out. Actually, no, I'm probably not going to have time to say any prayers, so I'll leave that.
All right, so you're going to have a bunch of help here. So you'll get a die from your ancestor here. There's where did Beric go? To the castle?
Yeah, he's gone to the castle with the king.
Yeah, castle. We've got. Let's make this an opposed roll. So it's going to be obstacle 1, but let's tally some shit here. So, you've got advantages as far as that goes. You've got your ancestor here. We've got summoners from Riathil.
Yep.
We've got faithful here. So that's 3. I think those are the biggest advantages that we have on our side here.
Do I get any advantage for combat for being massive?
Mahusiv. Yeah, that's fine as well. And so we'll combine sort of your attributes, which is your spirit nature and your stature. So yeah, we'll combine those to 1. So 4, in addition to whatever normal skill shit that you do. So that's you're the leading figure here, as already established. And then we're gonna have, I think,
I'll just roll this now, shall I, with obstacle 1?
Yeah, obstacle 1. Yeah, that's fine.
4 successes, 2 sixes. I'm going to bank a fate point into that.
So I'm going to fetch a sheet.
So 5 successes.
So I think we're going to make an abomination roll this. So
nice. Oh, it's abomination versus abomination. Who will win?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we already have, yes, savage attack is already on here. Good. So that's, yeah. And then, well, the enemy has birds.
Yep.
They have sorcerers. They don't really benefit from their siege work shit now that the line has been punctured. They've got the undead,
yeah,
which is a massive advantage
to
them. So this abomination is going to roll with 7. Okay, what else do we have here? Anything? Not quite, because it's just the savage attack and the advantage. Okay, so abomination is rolling obstacle 1, 2. So
you did get a 6 though.
Yeah, but they have no.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. So it's a grueling fight. But
yeah,
you beat them back at some point. The sorcerer, seemingly sort of shepherding the birds or whatever, concludes that no, this is not where I fall. So the sorcerer flees and takes the birds with him. And that's
I like
sort
thinking
of
that looks at me and he's like, wait a minute, I remember you.
you were smaller last time.
Yeah, and I still smashed your staff last time.
So that's the turning point for the fight, where the birds rout with the sorcerer, and that's the sort of like rallying cry now for your beleaguered people who are being harassed by said birds. And there's a renewed like second wind, let's go now. The devil birds are gone, and you do lift the siege.
We have
you
them in
rout the enemy.
retreat. Into them, man. Into them.
Yeah.
For the
So-
flame.
And that is being made somewhat difficult by the fact that like every other guy is able to retreat, and every other guy is like,
Yeah.
spear to the face. So there's like, chase down everyone you can, but some of them just don't retreat
Yeah, that's not
at
surprising.
all. So that's the thing that makes this really grueling.
That's why I was laughing when like Cameron's like, "Oh, once you finished here, like, come and join us." And I was like, half their troops are undead, so we're like literally gonna have to kill all of them. So like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like as the sun completes its course in the sky, we've got like the evening now being lit up by the roiling.
One of the things I am going to do is like, as the sort of tide of battle is like turning in our favour, and when we start like the sort of mopping up phase, I'm basically going to have like whatever our men aren't directly engaged, like build 2 like big sort of like bonfires, and any sort of like dead body we get, we're going to sort of under the auspices of like returning them to the flame, but also because we don't want them to come back as undead.
Yeah, get rid of them.
Put the bodies in them bonfires. But I'm gonna couch it all in, like we're returning their spirits to the flame, sort of thing.
Yeah, I like to think it's like a bizarre mix of like the battle is still going, but this is like the waning part of it, and the other half of the action is like this weird like triage thing where you have your people run out and like get all the enemy and get them to the bonfires as quickly as possible. So there's people running around fetching corpses as soon as they fall and tossing them on pyre.
As they're thrown in, I'm going to sort of couch it along the idea of like all these like corrupted people who've like died here, by like putting them into the purifying light of the flame, we're like returning their spirits to the flame and sort of purging the corruption, as King Cameron did in the days of old 2 days ago.
Yeah, no, it's like you're back in the Crusades. Like days spent in combat, like the really rough part, like the sieges. It's always this at the end where it's like an entire day in full gear, even though you're empowered by your vitality and whatnot that you didn't have then. But it's like you're back now in the trenches of the Crusades.
I was going to say, I think Ishmael obviously like feels the similarity. But whereas before, I think when they went into the Crusades, like obviously then like his faith was like already on the wane, and that just like put the last nail in the coffin. Whereas now he's like full of the faith of the true flame, and he's been sort of like racked with like leprosy and disease for so long that now he's got this vitality. He's like, this is how it should have been then. It shouldn't have just been like us fighting against each other. It should have been us fighting against like all mankind's enemies. So he's like, this is how it should have been. So
this is
sort of
what
like
I wanted to
invigorated.
do.
Yeah.
But then I was fooled by mortal ambitions, like it's people looking for resources and land. Okay, so we you pass the day and end it in the light of these funeral bonfires and the roiling aurora borealis in the sky, unceasing since it started in the morning, and the king also in very uneasy camping conditions in the, no doubt, like behind enemy lines and in the woods as the dark falls. And I suppose we pick up from the next day, because the king is going to continue on, no doubt, to the north.
Yep. My hope is that Ishmael will arrive at some dramatic moment. But up until then, I'm on my own with my entourage.
So unless you wait, Ishmael is not gonna reach you, because he has no devices to make that happen. So unless you stick around, you will reach the.
No, I can't wait. This is not. We've waited long enough. This has to.
Quick question. I'm probably going to fail it, but could I pray for a miracle to get me there in time?
Yes.
It's probably not going to work, but do you know what?
So
Why
this
don't
is-
you get all the people in the city to help you pray?
So yeah, I've got all the faithful around me. I'm going to be like, let's get on with this praying.
Yep. So Ishmael, like, how would you word it? What is Ishmael asking? What is Ishmael
What
asking?
is Ishmael asking? You smoking a pancake? I'm basically going to gather the faithful around me, and in the light of these huge bonfires that we've got burning, which is like purifying the unclean flesh
Corpse fire
of the undead that we have thrown onto it to purge them in the light of the flame, I'm
You need
going
the
to.
power of flight, so you can actually fly.
I'm not going to go just like straight in for that. I'm going to like basically lead all the faithful in prayer, and I'm going to basically make sure that they're all right and they're like doing their bit there, and then I'm going to pray to the flame to speed, because this will be sort of like at the end of the day as like my bigitude's fading. I'm going to pray to the flame to speed me through the side of my Lord and King, so that I might shine a light for him in the darkness where he must walk.
And what is your method of travel? Because you're asking for help with the travel.
Yeah,
How
my
do you-
method of travel is I'm going to, once I've shrunk down, I'm going to grab a horse off someone who's got a horse, and then I'm going to, once I've made sure everyone's okay and we've done the prayer, I'm then going to sort of make as quick a travel as I can. I'm basically going for the old Gandalf on like Shadowfax, like bit, with like the flames licking out the hooves and whatnot.
Yeah. Show me the meaning of haste.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably not going to work because I'm going to show you the meaning of having not enough faith dice, but
Yeah. Let's see. If you roll enough sixes, we can get there.
what sort of level would you say this is at? I have no idea.
I would say this is a major miracle. Looking for the
So difficult. I've scored 10.
like make like a half day's travel.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's not going to happen, but I've got to at least try. Okay, so faith. How many dice advantage do I get from my faithful?
So I would say, because you've got people here basically creating like holy corpse fires. That's very much on point. So I'm gonna say 1 for the corpse fires and 1 for the faithful.
Nice. Okay. So, well, here goes nothing. And it's difficulty 10. Oh, there's 1 6. Nah. Nowhere near.
Okay. Well, you set out on the journey anyway, and I will say. Yeah. So I will say that your reaching out does not go unheeded,
Okay.
but there's a moment where maybe you think you're passing out of like the exhaustion of the rigors of the day as you're like bouncing through the nightly woods on your horse, trying to head sort of where you know that Cameron was going. And there's a moment where in the wintry woods you spot, only because of the glittering of the aurora borealis being quite bright enough, that you notice a gleaming pair of eyes in the forest of a fox stood on a bank of snow, and the fox sort of licks its paw and like gestures towards where this is where for Ishmael it becomes like, afterwards Ishmael's not really sure if he passed out and dreamt shit and woke up later, but there's a fox that licks its paw and it sort of like gestures towards a particular path in the forest, which in this weird.
I'm going to assume, and I know this isn't correct out of character, but I'm going to assume that perhaps this is like the flame answering my prayers and showing me a quicker way. So I'm just going to follow it.
Yep.
What was that? Was that
And then
who I think it was?
as we're breaking camp at dawn, there's Ishmael just fully asleep, but Ishmael being the actual sort of knowledgeable person that he is about these kind of things, he's taken the reins and tied his own hands to the saddle so that he doesn't necessarily fall off, or the reins don't get caught on anything. So the horse has just gone on. Ishmael is just sleeping in the saddle as the horse gets to your camp at dawn. And there's as the king is watching, like, what? How? There's a brief wink from the fox eyes in your shadow.
Well, that's what I was like, is that the fifth, or is that actually my grandfather just being like, oh, I'll throw your board, there you go, have this. Well, what do you know? How did
So Ishmael is just
okay.
empty. Like Ishmael's gas can is negative at this point.
Quickly, man.
But he looks to be fine. Like he has reacquired some clothing in the meantime, as you're like you were not embiggened anymore. You reacquired some clothing and whatnot. So he looks fine now, which leads you to speculate maybe it went relatively okay, because he wouldn't have had the time or the interest to do that otherwise.
Right, I'll get so this is as we're breaking camp to leave.
Yeah, this is you breaking camp, and readying to leave.
I'm gonna carry him on my horse.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just hold him on my horse while he rests.
I'm like, my lord, the battle is won.
That is great news, Ishmael.
I've left the war marshal in
You've done
command,
well.
and I've.
Oh no! I mean, great.
I've ridden all night to get here as you asked.
Now we go to end the war. Save yourself. We have some time. Rest now.
I nod.
And I won't touch the sword that he has, but I'll make sure it's not like pressing. It's not in contact with me after he warned me.
Mm-hmm.
And we will ride forth to the castle.
Yeah, and I'm gonna remain on the back of like the king's horse as we go there, because I'm half thinking, given how knackered I am, I might need to slip off the horse and like big myself up again. Because like if we're going straight in, I'm going to be like,
yes.
Given that I've like ridden all night and like I'm not going to have a restful night's sleep on a horse. Like,
no, not really. It's more like it's the bare minimum because your brain just couldn't stay on anymore.
It's just like full asleep through sheer exhaustion. So I'm thinking, to be honest, to have any chance of doing anything in this fight, I'm probably going to have to use the Wanderer's Lament again. So I'm going to go on his horse with the idea that once we get in, I can just jump off the back of his horse and not crush it to death.
So Riathil does mention to the king, if you would, king, see your champion revived, there are methods of great cost.
Does this require a similar method as before?
Yes.
So not quite understanding. I'm just going to be like, my lord.
You see now why I have not offered you full repertoire as well. For some things which are greatly desirable to men are also highly costly.
Are these the talents of Dulciri I've shown playing?
Some of the talents among the many. Certainly some of the talents that cause a bit of a pause.
My Lady Wraith, when you mention a cost, who will pay said cost?
I would propose someone not that is not one of us three, or it would defeat the purpose of everything.
I'm going to sort of like look between the two of them. I obviously don't understand what she's into now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sort of like, well, I'm assuming that like, or maybe it's like something similar to like this cursed sword I carry on. If it was like just a cost I had to bear, I'd be like, right, just do it because I'm already messed up. But I don't really understand what she's suggesting because I'm not in with the magics.
Is there not some sort of herbal remedy you could?
I could if we spare some time.
How much time?
It's however much time it is, my lord. It is more time than we have. We need to strike now before the rest of the kings.
It depends on the time. Like we need.
My lord, I appreciate what you were saying, but we need to strike before whatever stragglers escaped us at the battle can return here and reinforce the
Ishmael,
false king's position.
you have won the battle. Let me attend to the war.
My lord.
Let's rest. How much time, Wraith, would we need?
A turn or two of the glass, depending. I.e., 1 or 2 hours.
That is enough time we can spare.
My lord, we do not have hours. I appreciate what you were trying to do for me, but we do not have this time. We need to strike now before the king can prepare.
He does not know I'm coming.
You have been camped a few scant miles from his castle. Of course he knows you're coming, my lord. By now his magics will have informed him of the defeat he has faced, and he no doubt knows that he will be next on your list. If we give him hours, who knows what additional sorcerous preparations he may make.
I can spare this time. I need you at your best, Ishmael. You can do this. I need to think.
My lord, I will use the sword. I will be fine.
No, we will take this time.
And then, as he's saying that, I'm going to turn to Riathil and say, this idea that you propose, explain it to me, but couch it in simple terms, for I do not understand your talk of sorcery. What would be involved and what would happen?
If we are to take the time, I can perhaps prepare a tincture of...
Not the herbal preparation, the original idea you spoke of.
I would take one of our companions' vitality and gift it upon you. They would not survive this.
I sort of look a bit horrified as she explains that. Then I will rely solely on the Wanderer's Lament. And I sort of like rest my hand on the pommel of the sword.
What shall it be? She says and looks to Cameron.
I would rather you have both options available to you, Ishmael.
In an ideal situation, so would I, my lord, but this is not an ideal situation. We need to strike now, my lord. I know it is not my place to tell you what to do. You are the king after all, but I fear your fondness for me is overriding your better judgment here.
It is not my fondness for you. It is a pragmatism that I understand, that having you at your full strength and the lament is an edge that we need. If you do not have both options, then you can only rely on one, and I know the consequences of relying on curses.
It is your decision, my lord. You are the king.
Whatever preparations he will make in that time, it is still going to be us versus him. I bear the crown. I will make up any advantage he gains with yours and my own.
Very well.
Plus, these men have ridden to their limits.
So with that, Rathwin grabs a horse and rides into the woods.
I'll go with her and see if I can help, because obviously I'm a herbalist as well. So
yeah. So with that, because you are indeed a herbalist and accomplished at that, you can cut down the time here. We don't need to roll for anything, but you, with your help, Rathwin is able to procure more stuff faster and is able to prepare a distilled concoction of a restorative, basically, which there's no reason to not have it right now. You, as you imbibe it, you are filled with newfound energy, the lethargy of the lack of rest being dispelled as well. You do feel infinitely better now overall.
Okay.
All right, so let's say that took...
While they're doing this, I want to do a little thing. Just a little thing. This is why I did want the time to do one thing.
Summon the obstacle 10. Let's go.
Boom. God cannon.
It's G time.
No, it's just a moment of quiet with my familiar. That's all I wanted. Just to say to, that you followed me faithfully throughout all this time. You've always been with me. My first friend and sometimes my only friend. Before I learned of my true nature. We're going up against our ancestor. And I don't know how well you understand me, but I know you do understand me in a fashion. He's going to concentrate himself on me. I am going to be the source of his ire, and since I have given him the first taste of a loss in a long time. That could be an opportunity. Even though it may cost me my life. I warn you, if you can understand me, try and get the crown from its head, while it's focused on me. You are the stealthiest among us, and sometimes it is the smallest of things that make the biggest of impacts in time. I cannot make you do this. If you can. And if this is the day we die, let's die together.
It as before, it does seem to understand you. It can't really communicate it to you in as many words, but
let's finish this. I give it like a little pat.
Yeah, it like practices like a snarl.
Yeah.
It's war face.
Yeah.
Good. And then 45 minutes later, Ishmael, Rathwin, everyone's good to go. And on we go, I presume.
End this thing.
From the woods, across the hills to the princedom of why am I blanking now? And my notes are gone as well. Good me. So the princedom of Siramon and the town and the castle that looms over it on a hill. You ride, perhaps expecting to meet resistance. However, it seems like the town is empty. There's no one there. Not a soul.
It would seem it's committed its forces all to the battle.
There is absolutely no one you can see or hear.
Perhaps the overconfidence of the last king is his true weakness. After all, he was expecting to crush us.
You proceed, I presume, to the castle where you know the king is.
Yep.
Again, the road is open. You find no one in the castle courtyards. And do you disembark? Go in?
We'll leave the horses, I think, and go in on foot. Okay with me.
And on you go. And your first stop, the throne room, as would be your
It'd be the assumption that's where he'd be, right?
that's where a king would be.
Yep.
Empty?
No.
Oh.
You find the king. You find at long last the last king of Dol Siriath. King Aralas Verdun Blaise Caraldun, I do believe his full name was. And
A king we've often heard of, yet it's the first time we've come face to face.
And there's a number of basically piles of ash that have full sets of clothing or armor lying on them or near them, sort of littered around the throne room. The king himself is sat on the throne. A figure of armored and glorious purpose, as it were. The king is wreathed in full plate armor, sort of laid out on the throne. There's a great helm covering the head. Underneath the helm, you can see long, like bleached white hair strands coming down the front of his chest plate. Very long hair indeed. And there is a thin halo of light shimmering in the air over the great helm of the king. There lies a large sword propped up against the throne on one side.
I can't deny, Riathil, your craft is beautiful. That is one hell of a crown.
She says nothing. She has been very quiet ever since we left the forest.
Yeah. Well, Varric, Ishmael.
Ha ha!
Let's face
To
our
battle!
enemy.
My lord. Shh.
So what do you do, actually?
I will approach him and say, at long last, the long undead king of Dol Siriath and the new, much younger, much foolish, bearer of the real crown, face off. What have you to say of yourself, king? I don't suppose you could relinquish your crown and surrender yourself. That would save us a lot of trouble. And trouble you have caused for both my ancestors, the people of Riathil.
So there's a fairly, I don't know, like how to describe it really. There's a heavy, almost sibilant voice that comes from the king's armored figure. It says, "Surrender. An intriguing prospect. One that you would be wise to consider entering my presence. As thieves, you snuck to the
The only
capital."
thing I will surrender to is my mortality. For you, I will have none. Your time upon this world has ended. You can either go peacefully and take your rest, for that is the service I will do you as a king, or I will smote you across this battlefield today. Either way, you will not walk free of me or my companions. Today
My
is your reckoning.
rule is eternal, and I would make an offer to you in recognition of your worth.
The only thing eternal is the flame, and neither of us own it.
Kneel
It is.
and be beheaded, and your companions will find a place at my table.
Riathil already had a place at your table. She didn't take to it.
Rethwin is not included in this, for she is a treacherous witch who will burn eternally for daring to raise a hand against me. The other ones may live.
I will let my companions speak for themselves, for that is the kind of king I am.
At this point, I'm going to start praying to the true flame, not this dank diet caffeine-free flame that he claims to follow.
this Poundland.
That's it. This bargain
Flame
basement
Zero.
flame. That's it. Yeah, this tab flame clear. And
Euro shopper flame.
I'm basically praying I'm praying for the flame to cause the vitality that he has stolen to flee from his limbs and let him become as he is a cup. Basically, I'm praying for it to hinder him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
That's good.
I know
So
that's an obstacle for.
Yep.
So probably not going to work, but you know what? But like I keep saying, when am I going to be here again?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got any helper advantages here, so I've not got any of the faithful. Have we got any of the faithful here? I don't think so.
No. You have no power here.
That's just.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Who's got no power here?
Yeah, look at those
The
6.
flame provides.
So you are
Whoa.
invoking
Whoa, dude, you.
the true flame against his flame crown crafted by Riathil.
Do you know what? I'm going to spam. I'm going to spam my last fate as well, because why not?
So that gives him +1 obstacle on his stuff, right?
Let me just check. I've got it bookmarked. Right. All it says is, because it's obstacle 1, something on one person. When the enemies of the faith rush forward to overwhelm the faithful, God may raise his hand against them and cause them to stumble, fall, or cower. This prayer momentarily immobilizes its targets. Their limbs become leaden and their muscles flaccid. The effect lasts for actions equal to half the priest's faith exponent. So 2 actions in this case.
Okay. So we'll sort of put that in the old side here as we go ahead. So that was half of your faith exponent, was it?
Yeah, although I do now have enough dots to go up to faith 5.
Goes up instantly.
So what? So it was 2 actions. How much was the obstacle increase? Like what was the actual effect?
The actual effect is he's immobilized for a number of actions equal to half my faith exponent. Yeah.
Is this from Gold or the Codex?
This is from Gold. It's from on page 525. The prayer momentarily immobilizes its targets.
Hindrance. Number of foes. Okay.
Obviously, this may
Immobilizes. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I had no memory at all about. I was thinking the. Oh yeah, I think it's called the curse. It's from the Codex, which basically
the one
gives,
that
like,
gives. Yeah. I know which one
opponents
you're
like
thinking of.
obstacle increases. Yeah. I was thinking about that. Okay. That's. Oh, okay. So
Let
the
the
true
shanking
flame,
commence.
I guess then there's like he's like rising up from the throne, picking up the sword, and is just like moving extremely slowly. It's like being held back by the true flame.
My plan pretty much now is like for us all to like rush him and either try and behead him or at least get that crown off him before he can move.
Okay, I'm willing to hear the the action plan here. Who's gonna do a thing? Who's rolling, and what are we rolling?
Okay, so I'm hoping that obviously I've done this prayer and I've loudly called on it, the flame, to like render him as a corpse as he truly is. So I'm hoping as he's sort of trying to like move, and he obviously can't really. It'll be obvious to everyone else what's happening. So I'm gonna give it like a split second for like the king in case he wants to be like, take him, my man, or whatever. But if the king doesn't like make with the plan, I'm just gonna like shout for everyone to like take him down. So, like I say, give you a moment, King.
Just to clarify, is he on his own, or is there any kind of?
So, as far as you can tell right now, he's the only one here. But
that's
okay,
what
with me, Beric, take him now. For now and forever, we set this land free.
Yeah, so I think we're rushing him, and like I say, as
now,
we rush him.
Is he actually like on fire, or is it just?
No. So I will highlight as well. The crown of flame, as it is a shimmering halo in the air on his head.
That's why I'm going for the beheading.
Yeah, I am making my way towards him, but obviously I am not a swordsman, so I will try to use this. I'll try to burn him with his own flame, juicing it up with my own power, the crown. I'm gonna cast my spell, which I have no access to because I have got it.
Spark shower?
Spark shower.
We're going back to the spark shower?
It always comes
it
back
works
to the
so well
spark
against
shower,
the dark. I don't actually have it on my magic sheet, but it's on. It's difficulty 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So yeah, I will attempt to cast spark shower using that flame enhanced with my own power to burn him. And cause him.
So this will be the first thing, and then everyone else can try one thing, and then that's the paralysis ended.
Okay, where is the? I had a thing I could roll, didn't I? Where is it? Oh yeah, it's down here. Right, I'll roll this just rather than. Can I roll this just as it is? No, I'm gonna have to roll. I don't have the spell actually on my sheet, do I? That's the problem.
So I can make it for you real quick.
Okay.
If you want.
Because I was learning it up until now. All right, I will not touch my sheet while you do that.
Right. Okay, one moment.
Yeah.
Spark shower. Okay, so.
I'm under no illusions, though, John. This guy's going to be cack hard.
Mate, I paralysed him for 2 rounds. What do you want?
No, I was just saying his head's probably just going to regrow a new body. It's just...
Well, however hard he is now, he's paralysed. He was originally going to be that hard and actively fighting against us for these 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm hoping maybe Riathil can like do something with regards to the crown, given that she knows something about it and he can't really interfere with them.
We can't rely on Riathil though, because she's her own. She's a.
I think that should be okay now. I'm going to test it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it should work.
Okay, I will give it a go. It's a difficulty 2, isn't it? Just
yeah.
I don't need to fork anything in for this. I'm not going to use the Arthur right now.
So on that very topic,
Oh, but I'm using the crown, aren't I? I'm boosting it with the crown.
Oh,
so.
okay. So let me know what the crown does.
So I don't know if this I have corruption, but I was going to add maybe 2 die to the effect, just essentially to actually burn his physical body.
Maybe you could suck the power out of his crown with your crown.
I could suck the power out of his crown. Yeah, with the spark show. That sounds great.
Okay, so that is a substantial. Yeah. So
sorry. That's
so reel back your process there on the old roller.
Yep.
You're casting the spark shower basically on the crown of flame.
Yep.
To explode it on his head, which I hadn't thought of that. That sounds great.
I'm just going to remind you've got a deed point, my lord.
Yeah. I am saving that for an appointed time.
We haven't really dealt with what the crown of flame does, and in this instance, what it does is you can go ahead and add a relatively spicy +8 obstacle on that.
Wow.
Deed point, my
that
lord.
Fire spell that you're throwing on it.
Deed point, my lord. My lord. Deed point. My lord.
Ishmael's hanging on to the
Please,
the
sir, spare a deed point.
But how do I use the deed point in this instance? How does it actually mechanically work?
So
doubles your
deed
dice
point, yeah, it doubles your dice pool, or if you are in a situation where you've rolled already, you can re-roll the ones that failed.
Right. Okay. 8. So that'd be 10 difficulty total of. Oh boy. But how do I mechanically put that onto the like if I use it? How does that actually? How do I put it onto my?
So
spark
what
shower?
are you using?
Spark shower.
Yeah, are you using the deeds point then?
I'm just saying, if I did, how would it? Because it lowers the difficulty as well, doesn't it?
Right.
Of the
No, it doesn't. It gives you extra dice.
Okay.
So it doubles your dice pool, or you can re-roll all the failed dice after you've rolled already.
Right. Then I will use the deed point at this to try and end this in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a different purpose for it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to fate. Okay.
So let's, I'm gonna draw it up here so that we can do this correctly, because I don't remember the exact wording of it. So I'm gonna draw up the Artha.
So okay.
So I guess in effect here, we sort of naturally went into our resolution stuff here, not using the fight rules.
Oh, sorry.
Because all of this would have been there.
But we just sort of went with it, didn't we?
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. If you guys want to, we can go into fight as well if we want to.
I'm fine with just seeing how we go.
Yep.
See how this goes.
Yep. So persona, these. So here we go. So divine inspiration is the thing you're doing. So at 1 point of Deeds Artha may be spent to double the exponent of a single stat skill or attribute test.
So instead of 6 dice, I get 12 dice.
12, yeah. On your sorcery.
Okay. And can I fork in Imperialia in this or anything else?
Let's look at the old list here.
I know that I always do this.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah. Astrology, astronomy, alchemy, aura reading, Imperialia, demonology.
I'm gonna whack it all in as much as I can.
Yeah, whack it in, because it's go time.
Right, okay.
But you have reckoned without the moon being in the second house of ass whoopery.
So that means it would be alchemy. Yeah. So alchemy be 1, Imperial demonology, that's 3, plus the extra 6, which is 9. Okay, plus 9. Yep. And
So
Arthur,
what
I'm
is your, before we actually go through with this, what is your intent with this? What are you trying to achieve?
my intent is to use
I was going to say, Matthew, I presume, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong from what you're saying, I'm assuming that your intent is to like explode the crown so it'll like consume him and he's done.
Yeah, essentially to explode
Turn
the fire,
the crown upon him.
Yeah,
burn
basically.
him with his to burn him with the very thing he has been kicking the world with for the past hundreds of years.
Okay, I think we can do this. I think we can do
have
this.
him done. Does the crown give me any extra dice in this scenario?
I don't know.
Okay.
Does it?
Maybe I'll save. I'll save the crown. If this doesn't work, then I'll put the then I'll.
Okay, then we'll like get the ace out of the hole.
Yeah, then I'll let the thingy. Okay, base obstacle 10. Jesus, come on. That's the.
Spend some fate, my lord. Spend some fate. You've got mo sixes.
I don't have any. I have 0 fate.
You've still got 17
fate.
successes, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here at the end of the world, the king cashes in all those bad luck rolls that he's had for 36 sessions.
For
Matthew
almost an
rolls
entire year's worth of playing. Yeah.
an incredible 17 successes against obstacle 10. So, and this is to make it super clear, we're only here able to do this stuff because you could barely pull off the suppression effect on the crown, and the sort of domination effect that the king
barely
affects.
Yeah,
just barely you could do that, because if we were here and you hadn't done that, things would have been already pretty damn spicy. But now here, you've given yourself and everyone else the opportunity now to be here, and you turn the power of the crown of flame using because spark shower only explodes things. You are already using the crown to change the intention of the spark shower there. So let me just go ahead and deal with that real quick.
Again, hella corrupted here, guys.
Cameron.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yep. Right. So the idea was to have the flame crown kind of overwhelm and consume him, like basically. So I don't know if this is what you wanted, but like, you're feeding more to the crown than you think, and as is clearly the case, than he can sustain.
Yeah.
Like you're adding on to the fire so that it goes out of his control. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I think the
he brought piss to a shit fight, man. I've got the real crap.
So Ishmael and everyone else, like Ishmael, Beric, Riathil, everyone else is charging forward like, now's the time, get him. And the king is sort of like sort of very slowly picking up his swords, like the shimmering halo in the air as you're channeling further fire, arcane fire from the stars, because that's what your crown is. You're channeling starfire into the crown of flame.
And I'm doing that kind of Lord of the Rings thing, and great stories where the person's focusing on all the things that have led to this point, and all the things that this guy has done, like rescuing Riathil in the early
I love
doors.
the idea that as you're sort of casting that spell, like it suddenly pauses and that you hear like Cameron's voice, like, I bet you're wondering how I got here.
I got to this point.
It all started several years ago.
With a dwarf and an elf and a rogue sorcerer.
I found myself in a tavern.
Oh, I was going to say, would you say that you're standing in the ashes of a false Church of the Flame, given that there's already these ashes around us? Just saying.
Yeah.
So, if like your compatriots are charging forward, you are channeling Starfire into the Crown of Flame. The shimmering halo like increases in intensity, lights on fire, and there's a conflagration. It's not a crown per se, but he has a halo of fire now, licking up like a meter into the air, and he starts like fire starts pouring out between the caps of the armor as well. And there's a shout that goes out from the last king. Everyone is charging forward, intent on either like beating on him or like, I don't know, doing something to the crown or whatever. And you give him too much. You break or start to break the crown of flame by putting in the celestial fire of the crown
Juice, yeah.
And this is where there's going to be a very cinematic moment here where the king just like fire just erupts from him and washes over everything. And there's a snap cut to black as like people are, as Ishmael was like throwing up hands as like, oh shit. Like just a wave of fire.
He's crossed the streams.
And we're gonna do something here because I decided so, because it's further enhancement of this incredible success that you've just had here. We're gonna give for good old times' sake, we're gonna give a good old spin to the wheel of magic.
Oh, nice.
You've overloaded one of the most potent things ever crafted here, so things are gonna go haywire. You get your intent, and this is what happens when you break shit. So we're gonna go here.
We all got turned into sentient flames.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find something suitable for this.
Well, to be honest, mate, I've got a cursed sword. I'm like followed by ravens. I'm already being transformed into like the angstiest of RPG characters.
All I know is whatever happens, I'll heal pretty quickly from it.
actual Batman. So give me a D6, Mr. King.
Okay, I was just checking.
So this is whether we're going clockwise or counterclockwise. Let me know what it is, because I'm looking.
4.
4. So we're going. Even is clockwise. So we're going clockwise, and then give me a D6. That's how many steps?
3.
3 steps clockwise. Okay. And I'm using your spark shower here. So I'm going to be messing with your sheet here for a moment.
Okay, that's cool.
Just switching over here to look at the spark shower. So
it's kind of fitting it right at the end of the game. I actually get a stonking success.
Yeah, it's a massive, because you've had such bad luck the whole game. Okay, so we are dealing with fire, surprising all of us here. Incredible surprise here. So fire and 3 steps forward. Okay. Interesting. Clockwise. So we're looking at water. As far as the element goes, then we're doing destruction. Okay, interesting. And then we're doing origin. Yeah, presence 1, 2. Yeah, that goes to presence as well. All right, and then we've got what's next. Duration. Instantaneous is your thing, so it goes 1, 2, 3. Sustained. Okay. And then the area is single target. We move on to measured area. All right, well, it doesn't do much, but it desiccates
Probably the entire castle.
The entire castle, yeah. So a blast of flame, everything goes to black. Fire magic suffuses the entire castle and just like withers everything in it. As we cut back, there's Cameron, Ishmael, everyone else strewn about the throne room. All the banners burning, wall cloth, sort of every single object that isn't stone is currently on fire here. And you pick yourselves up slowly from the ashy ground, and you don't see the last king.
It is done.
We don't see the last king. Do we see the false crown, or is that?
I think that's shattered beyond any.
Yeah, you don't see evidence of either. Well, there's strewn about various bits of armor, some of which looks like pipe mail, could be his.
And there's no sign of any like physical remains or anything of the last king.
Not that you can tell. So there's items that might have been his, but if there is a corpse, you can't find it.
I'm going to suggest that anything that is an item of his that we can burn should be burnt.
Agreed.
You were able to find armor bits that you were convinced are the last king's. However, a lot of them are kind of turned to slag, at least partially.
Okay.
And you can find the sword as well. It's a sort of old, dull Riathil longsword.
Okay, I'll take the sword.
But yeah, you're not able to find any bits of the body. There's no sign of a crown as far as like physical crowns go. Which, to be fair, it was never really described to you either way. Like, is it a physical one? Is it something else? But the thing that you saw was more or less like a halo that then was overloaded into being an inferno. You stand in the ashes now, holding the sword of the last king. The last king, because we know that because Cameron got his intent, the last king has been consumed by the crown of flame. He is no more.
I think I'll sort of put a hand on Cameron's shoulder and I say, "Well done, my lord. The last king has been dealt with. I think perhaps we should return to Riathil and address the wounds of those who fought for us.
The war of the flame is now done.
Indeed, there'll be much work and much rebuilding for you ahead."
Mm-hmm.
And I think we
set
posse up and ride out.
Walk out of the seemingly abandoned princedom of Siramon, inhabited only by the last king. And you make the long trek back. Well, long, as in, like, you would want to be there immediately to see what's going on. But you return to Riathil. And I presume you maybe take a rest, not ride through the night. So
Yeah.
The northern lights never dissipate from the sky. They have been with you ever since you started out. And you return to Riathil. The corpse fires still burn. There's people in the regions, the fields, the woods around Riathil burning corpses day and night.
Okay.
And
as we sort of ride up, I'm assuming like people are sort of gathering to try and find out what's happened.
Yeah.
And when there's like a crowd gathered, I'm just going to say, King Cameron has slain the last king, and then I'm going to like throw the last king's like sword down on the floor as like a token of like his defeat.
There's people are they're sort of stunned for a while by just the thought of like, is this finally over? Could this be over? And slowly the word starts spreading and people are like stopping what they're doing because people are yelling like, hey, come on over here. And there is a crowd that slowly gathers of more and more jubilant individuals celebrating the seeming end of the conflict that has plagued them for a very long time.
Time. The horrors
Well-
of the false flames have been quenched. Tomorrow we start a new day, a new time for us all. How that new future, how that goes is now down to you.
All hail King Cameron, the Sun King.
Yeah, and then the sort of sometime later, you find yourselves in Riathil, I presume. Sort of
Mm-hmm.
sitting for a second, having a bit of bite to eat, maybe.
I think
Discussing the kind of, I suppose, the mundane aspects of putting together back a kingdom. You know, okay, how are we going to reconstruct the city? Who's going to lead these areas?
I think since we're, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, since we had an into like sort of epilogue sort of territory.
I know what I'm doing for my epilogue, John.
Well, I was going to say this is where I'm moving into mine. As sort of Cameron's
D point or no D point, that's where we're going.
As sort of Cameron's like, we've got to plan out for like what we're going to do now and whatever. Sort of having like retrieved the sword of the false king, so Ishmael like rides up. He's still on a horse, and he just sort of says, "Well, my lord, I wish you luck in the future."
You too, Ishmael. This cannot have been done without you.
Indeed.
I knew
Unfortunately,
it was your faith that would make the difference in the day.
indeed. However, I fear now for my love of the faith that I've found in the people here. For their benefit, I must now walk away from them. This, and I sort of look down at the Wanderer's Lament.
I understand.
This sword I carry is a curse, and eventually others will try and take it from me, and either I will die or they will die, and the curse will be passed on. I will take these two swords, the sword of the last king and the sword of the Wanderer's Lament, and I will go to some barren, secluded place away from the eyes of men, so that when I eventually pass from this world into the light of the true flame, with any luck, the knowledge of this sword and its location will pass with me, and perhaps the curse will be ended.
If I may suggest, perhaps you should seek the poet.
I believe I will,
For
my lord.
they have knowledge we do not, and the healing waters of that place may yet aid you.
And I think again, Ishmael offers his hand to the king, and there's probably like a dramatic like tear in the corner of his eye.
Like a
Yeah, like the old like warrior Conan
Yeah.
warrior's handshake, and he says, "If we do not see each other again, my lord, it has been my honour and my privilege to have served and fought alongside you, and I wish you and all your descendants well in the future. Lead us wisely into the new day which now dawns."
I will make sure that history remembers what we stood for this day.
Indeed, better for others that the actions of the people are remembered, and not myself, since if anyone remembers me or this sword, they will come seeking it, and I would not wish this weight to pass to another person. But I
understand, my friend.
will take your advice, my lord. I will seek the counsel of the poet, and if there is some way to destroy this blade, I will see it done. Otherwise, I will carry it where it can do no harm. Be well, my lord. As I say, it has been my honour and my privilege. And then I sort of like turn the horse away, like tap the horse and gallop off.
Into the wintry landscape he rides. So there's various scenes of celebration and somber mourning. There's sort of new pledges of
Mhm.
allegiance. There are accolades given. So Davrin and his contingent of dwarves were, in fact, because that was entirely something that they were preparing for, they were indeed the ones who eventually set in motion the retreat of the large sea eagles, because they had prepared a large number of devices of gunpowder to counteract the birds.
Ah.
So the few dwarves fighting here are celebrated for their role in that specifically, because people kind of took that, because Ishmael was there to exploit that as the sort of like second win opportunity, like let's go now, because the air superiority has been lost to the enemy. And there's a lot of handshaking and pledging of allegiances between the sort of surface dwelling Dwarven people where Davrin came from and the people of Riathil now, because we withstood this threat together. And of course, the king is getting many an admirer looking to shake hands and make deals and whatnot. People are very interested in hearing who should be the new master of the tower, because the previous master Mordred tragically has fallen in battle.
Yeah. I actually have an idea for that, but we'll see how that pans out.
Right. Okay. Well, amidst all of this, the sort of recovery and realization of a new tomorrow, what does the king do?
Well, essentially, my intentions, there's a bunch of stuff I want to do, which leads up to I don't know how much time I've got before my Foxfires does his thing.
Yeah, that is a true statement. You do not know.
So, so essentially, I name Beric my sort of successor, and his family will, when I depart, his family will take over my my kingdom. I instruct him not to use the crown if he gets hold of it, but I have a feeling he won't get hold of it if this goes the way I'm hoping it goes. I spend as much time as I can in Riathil getting things back up and running, getting the people, making sure people are getting fed, watered, that the injured are getting seen to. I'm in memory of Ishmael. In a church, no doubt springs up about the true flame. We're in Riathil. They love their flames, so I will.
They've got the churches all built.
It's all there.
Already.
It's all there. So I'll have us make sure the statues of him. He is the first disciple of the new flame. He is the sort of saint that they now aspire to be. A man struck down with a terrible illness and a loss of faith, refines it by going on a pilgrimage to a distant land and being taught the truth and coming back and bringing that faith to aid the people in their time of need. In terms of the tower, I don't know how much persuasion it'll take, but I'll ask Riathil to take over. This is up to her. Again, I'm not going to force it, but the discussion I have with her is that she is uniquely qualified to teach these people to do better. She has seen both sides. She's seen the destruction and the chaos that we can create, but also what good we can do, because we did good here. We helped. We saved the people. She has seen both paths. Maybe she can teach.
You're very welcome to roll your persuasion.
I mean, it's like difficulty 8, isn't it? It's like it's
it is.
Yeah. Can I use the crown?
I mean, the crown has done greater things than convince someone.
I am nearly spent. I'll try. I don't think it's going to work though, because my
Rathwin, look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. My court sorcerer.
My persuasion ain't got the juice for this.
Make me a crown worthy of Syria.
I'll roll it, but I'll put my Dulcet wise in there, and yeah, okay. I'm not going to use Riathil. I'm unlikely, but I'll try. Yeah.
She will go into exile.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, it was a nice thought.
She is going to leave because everything that has happened, it's like it's all panned out the way that she thought it might be in the best possible scenario, which is that she didn't interfere. If she didn't put her hand on the till at all.
If she's going into exile, she's welcome to travel with Ishmael if she wants, because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because she didn't know about this poet stuff. Very interested in that. So because you've let her know about this stuff now, she's absolutely going to go with Ishmael out. That's right. That's right.
That's fine. Then I will teach somebody. I will spend time teaching someone to take over.
Yeah, your apprentice.
Yeah, apprentice. Beric's doing the sort of like kingly stuff. If he's still alive, Beric's Ostar. You know Ostar?
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot because I did not anticipate your 17 successes. There was a whole other thing that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But you found Ostor lurking about in the castle in the aftermath.
No way.
Yeah.
He was going to take a pot at the guy.
He was there with the meager whatever trinkets and artifacts they had accumulated. One of them was a like an elven cloak. He was sneaking around the castle looking for like something, because he's not a wizard, so he was in the castle looking for something to like affect the king, like find his source of power, quote unquote, or whatever. Like he was there looking to find the weakness of the king and or assassinate him.
What a guy.
But you came upon him as you were leaving. And he,
I would have loved if he'd saw me just smote that guy across the landscape.
He was like in the dungeons looking for some like phylactery or something. But...
Brilliant. I actually, if he wants, I'd like to send him as my representative back to Caer Amorous, because I made promises to the Thieves Guild that needs somebody of his kind of talents really to deal with. So. Because I made promises to them, and I need to stay in Riathil for a time. So, if he wants to have a cool job dealing with the Thieves Guild, he's my guy.
All right, no, that's fine. He can be your ambassador to Caer Amorous.
Yeah. I want, because the Foxfights gave me the location.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to have if the time is a permanent summoning circle inscribed into the room that could be used.
So in the astrological observatory.
Yeah.
Is this you doing it or someone else?
I mean, I'll help, but
all right. Okay. Well,
we're not in time pressure as far as I know that, unless he's going to
Well, so what? Like you take a bunch of apprentices of the tower. Like bring your assassination tools. We're gonna go draw.
Yeah, just build a nice.
So you have a gaggle of apprentices, and you go into the observatory, and
does the northern lights stay in the sky?
Yes,
they remained since that point.
They've remained since.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're there. What time of day is it when you get there?
Probably like just close to dusk.
Yeah. So there is a immediately as you get there, there's a voice. It says, welcome. You have arrived at last.
Okay, right. Here. Have you been waiting all this time for me?
I think actually, before we move on, because John's away, and I could use a toilet break as well. Maybe let's take a couple minutes here.
Let's take 5. Okay.
Yep.
I'll grab a drink.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
Right. So that was a bit of a different um, solution to the situation with the last king than I don't think anyone really anticipated that.
Yeah, it wasn't really what I sort of envisioned was going to happen when we went into it, but it all sort of made sense. Even the, like you say, like all the random like flame effect on the magic at the end of overloading the crown. Thought that was really cool. And then Ishmael continued his evolution into like the world's angstiest RPG character.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go into the desert with my cursed sword.
Yeah, no, now he's going to go to Razal Poet now, and
I was imagining a bit in June, where like Paul Atreides is like, oh, if I stay here, like I'm locked onto like this golden path of like the kids at Haderach, and he's like literally the only way I can avoid it is just to like go into the desert and like leave all this behind.
Yep.
So I was envisioning my character is like, oh, eventually someone's going to try and take this sword off me. I can't give it up because of the curse. So either I'm going to have to kill them, or they're going to kill me. And whichever way it goes, whoever gets the sword is going to have the curse, and it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, which is kind of the whole like, oh, why did this like entity from the void, who knows what they used to be before, but very skilled in creating stuff, calls themselves the friend of the king. Why did they create this stuff for me? Because it's a blight on the world that's gonna keep on going.
So I mean, as Cameron was saying, I'll go and speak to the poet. Maybe he can help me sort of destroy this thing. If he can't, then I'll just sort of take myself as far away from like humanity as I can, with the hope that when I eventually die, like in a cave somewhere or something, like the sword will be like lost.
Yeah.
But that was a cracking end of a campaign session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's again, I envisioned fully a fight sequence there, but I think the combination of you pulling out because we naturally go to the resolution that we did just then, because that's what we've been doing for 36 sessions, which is not to say that that's bad. It's just that I guess collectively, like, we were looking forward to trying out those things at least once during the campaign. It's like, it would have been nice if it happened. It's not the greatest loss of all time. Like a super spoiler, I guess. Like, I'm looking forward to playing Burning Wheel again at some further point down the line, like a second campaign, absolutely. So we will have the opportunity, even if we didn't hear, because of the brilliant leveraging of, and this is, it's I guess in a way, everything that happened was exactly on point, because you are calling on the true flame, like push back this one, because this is not of you, like push this back, because we seek to further the true flame here. So you're using that, and then Cameron goes ahead and uses the more or less the fire from above, the celestial fire that the crown is made from. So you're both using your things at the same time. There's like, oh, and then
because I've got to admit, originally I was, you were talking about the one in the codex with the faith, where you can like make someone's stuff more difficult. Originally, that's what I was thinking of, and I was just like, oh, I'll just have a quick look through the thing, and I was like, hold on a second, you can like immobilize someone with faith, and like, if it's only one person, it's not actually that difficult. I mean, you only get it for like a couple of rounds, but I was like, the dude's like sat down on a throne. Because like I said, originally my thought was like, oh, I'll paralyze him on the throne if I'm successful, and then we can just sort of like rush him and cut his head off or whatever. And then obviously that Cameron came in with like, oh, I'm gonna like cause him to like spontaneously combust.
Yeah, ignite him.
That's it. And with that fucking 17 successes, man, Jesus.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like, he had 20 dice, which is a lot of dice, to be fair. But it's not that far off from some of the big dice pools that he's had previously, because for example, with summoning, those dice stack up fairly quickly because if you draw a circle, you can just be like, oh, 4 extra dice just because of this circle here. I'm gonna toss 3 persona in. So that's +7 already on top of whatever you have. So, like, it's not that far off. It's a giant pile, but he's had big piles before, and absolutely dismal results. It's just completely awful results. And 17. Oh boy!
Like I say, I mean, it really pulled it out of the bag with that. I mean, look at that. There's like 7, 8 sixes in there.
Yep. Incredible. So, like, if that hadn't happened, we would still be in a fight sequence here because the king was going to get up and
because I've got to admit, I was sort of assuming, like, I didn't think it was going to go that well, so I was like, we might get a bit of a momentary advantage and then we'll be into the fight. But
17
everything
successes.
I was going to say, everything just came together and just like leveled him.
Yep.
At one time.
It was going to be good for you guys to get like an advantage in the fight against him as at the start, but your boy pulled the flaming rabbit out of the hat.
I just thought the only source of flame I can think of is the crown itself. So
what's that? The crown of flame.
The crown of flame.
I'm just wondering what was louder, like the sound of that like nice fiery explosion, or the sound of like Cameron's like balls swelling after he like pulled that out.
Flame clap that was heard across the world.
So, John, you were away from there for a little bit, but so it is dusk one evening in Riathil, and King Cameron. I guess you're not the king anymore if you say like the Beric is doing his stuff.
Beric, they could still call me.
You can still call me king.
You still call me king, but effectively, I have named him like.
Do I still get the reputation of being a king?
I'm still around, but so this is like in Cameron's head. He's dealt with. He dealt with the flame in Riathil. He's dealt with the Flame King. There's one last flame he has to deal with, and then that's him exiting stage left essentially. So he's put Beric in charge because he knows at some point he is going to disappear.
By the way, Beric at this point is no longer juiced up Beric.
Yeah,
like he's let that relapse.
He's relinquished his thing. Yeah, just like a good leader would. He's not clamoring to it.
So he is much like you remember him from Strathwell. He's old, but he's built for chopping logs, and he's
have the crown with me for one last thing. That's it, and that's essentially Cameron's character done.
So Cameron's in the
Tower of Wisdom.
Tower of Wisdom, specifically the astrological observatory, which has this like wide space open to the night sky. Basically a large balcony, like huge spaces for the explicit purpose of studying the sky, and instruments to match. And Cameron's taken a number of tower apprentices to go there and set up a massive summoning circle for one last time. And immediately upon entering, there is a familiar voice welcoming him finally to the stage here. Well, not to the stage, but to the.
Is there an actual physical person there? Like,
no, it's just a voice for him. And you had asked, have you been waiting here for this entire time? And the voice replies, well, you are the guest of honor.
Thank you.
Speaking of, these others lack invitation.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I will. I did not know you would be here at this time. Please, give me some time. In fact, I would leave the tower and take the night off because you don't want to be here in 5 minutes.
So they get their sustaination tools back into the.
I've got this.
And then they leave. So, I take it everything went well in Siramon?
Not too bad. And surprisingly, I have you to thank for that.
Wow. I wasn't going to let you perish before the final act.
You didn't have to do that. It was an oddly kind gesture. So thank you for sending my friend back to me in my moment of time, my moment of need.
Hmm.
You made the difference. There are no more crowns or flames other than the truth flame, the crown that I wear.
I suppose we shall see. That was how it was in the Elder Days as well. It was but the celestial fires of my kind and the true flame of the earth.
And now you want to see it all stamped out. You want to see the world grow cold and dark. You know, for someone who's literally known as the Foxfires, that seems like an utterly unexciting prospect.
I shall become more.
Maybe you should just accept being who you are.
I have ever done so. And my grand plan has taken me this far, where others busy themselves with rather more trivial pursuits. As you already know,
You seek the
my
big picture.
eye looks for the big picture, the long game. And
Yeah.
we have reached the conclusion. And
Well,
I would have my family with me here, with me at the end.
I appreciate the invitation. It's nice to come full circle
So
to where it all started.
as you talk and look around, because the voice is coming from inside your head, so there's nothing to focus on really. So the eyes wander. You start seeing shimmers in the structures of the place, in the tower itself, not the like tables and whatnot, but the walls and the ceiling. You it looks for all the world like writing, but the writing, instead of like being chiseled or painted on or anything like that, it's kind of like faint traces of starlight
It's like emblazoned
walls.
on it. Like
Yeah.
it sits on top of it rather than being
Yeah.
chiseled in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find, like, and this is new, you haven't seen this before, ever really,
Yeah, this is
as far as you
something.
can remember. This is new to you. But yeah, you can see writing. It is indecipherable, but the words sort of shift as you focus on them, and it is, you understand, some form of like old elven script, but you find that you understand, you can read it even if you normally would not, but this is, for whatever reason, this is legible to you.
Another gift of having the eyes of the Foxfires, I guess. Can I make any sense of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. So your eyes wander. You, as you start finding, okay, that I know what that word is. There's several places where the writing is, and you pick a spot, and it reads, "I am Lomenaurask of the night sky. Long have I watched over the rest of mortals in the dark hours where all things are possible, and beauty and terror dance together with wild abandon. Long have I haunted their dreams." Is the first bit that you can decipher. And you understand the name as well. It is a name, but as many old tongue names, it has a meaning which you know instinctively to translate to the spirit of the night sky, specifically referring to a fox-like entity. So something to the effect of the fiery fox spirit of the night sky is given as the name of the person.
Getting an idea of its actual essence. That's referring to. Right. Okay.
There's another spot.
Oh, I'm going to go to that in a second, but I'm going to say,
Mhm.
am I going to speak to your? Am I going to actually see you this evening, this night? Surely, if you want to spend
Oh
time with me, I
yes.
should.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I was merely preparing things, and from the corner of your eye, there's
There.
an individual dressed in sort of noble fabrics that sort of strides into view from nowhere. It is a sort of your height humanoid figure, full on scaled up fox head on top, eyes glittering with dark intent.
Back in tent, yeah.
Sort of fixes its like cravat and looks out to the night sky. It's a wonderful evening that will last forever.
Well, we'll see.
There is beauty in that.
There is, and I'm glad you can still see beauty. You know, I thought long and hard about the things you told me, especially about when you said that I am the product of your making.
Mm.
I think I am an echo of your life in a way.
Well, what else would you be?
Exactly. Like how when I first met you, I was fumbling around in the dark and getting understanding, as you must have done in the beginning,
Of course.
and how
You are a lesser echo of things that happened long ago,
yeah.
set in motion by my design. In a very crude way, I am you,
And you
and
have
you
me.
do not exist.
Yeah. I think we took different lessons at a critical point. I think,
Huh.
yeah. Which we are now two pieces of the same coin, but we've come to different wisdom.
Wisdom, such as you can conceive of it, can only balance nature so far. A fox cannot escape its
Mhm.
nature. Not for very long, anyway. And it sort of steps to a point where you lose contact and has
Mhm.
disappeared for some time
That's
again.
when I'll glance at the other script and see what it
Mhm.
says, just as I'm looking around.
You can see, by the way, in the corner of your
Mhm.
eye, the roiling aurora borealis, very bright tonight. The second script reads, "Yet the world was wounded, and one of my kin fell, becoming enthralled with the song of ruin.
Yeah.
I would not see the awful beauty of the night shattered, and so I took the light of my kin and gave it to the mortals, a burden for the world to bear, and for all those in it, for the light of the stars is blinding."
Yeah.
And
I
there's
suspected.
you can see now your
Yeah.
eye is clearly becoming more attuned to whatever this is as you go, because
As
you
I
can
see
see
more of
several
it.
more
More
scripts
of it.
sort of written in
So
light on the walls.
you see. You see, I think because you lack a mortal life, you have lost perspective. The pain that you felt at the loss of your kin has poisoned the well of your soul. When you lashed out and took the firelight, that is similar to me lashing out and taking power for myself when I should not have.
What you think you should have or not is of no consequence, really. What you wish has been predetermined. You are a fox, and a fox you shall remain. You do what you are supposed to. I have seen to this. There was never any other way for you to be. You have made no errors. You have succeeded in all your designs, and you should be proud. I am proud.
I'm glad that you've satisfied, but it's not me who did this. It is the people who came with me. I did not. It was not just my hand. It was the hand of Ishmael, of Glavi, of Tyrell, of Davin, Beric,
Oh, please.
even Wraithwin. In the end, I managed to convince Wraithwin, the person who does not want to help anyone anymore, to do something good.
Oh, she wishes many a thing.
And if I am not done, if that is,
you can see
yeah,
but you can hear like just laughter just echoing
Yeah.
around the entire structure.
but if I am a product of you, then you put that in me, and I am a reflection of your desire to make amends, to restore, to rebirth. That is also you. You deny it, but perhaps you put that into me because you could not bear it.
Your
And I did not just learn from you.
persistence is remarkable when it pertains to your errors in perspective.
Mhm.
The resurgence
Yeah.
is going to be something that your kind cannot imagine, for you have not been cast into the void.
No. No, I have not.
There's a deep silence after that.
I'll keep looking around the room to see if there's any other patches I can put together.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering if I can pull off what I'm going to try to do, but
Mm-hmm. For a time, says the writing that you settle on, for a time I walk the starless path of ruin, as is my nature. The one singing of the breaking of the world falls into my trap as the mortals bring the stolen light to bear, but I know that this is not enough. As the singer of ruin falls, so does the chorus of dark voices. I too will perish and be cast into the void with them.
that would imply that it knew that it was going to die. Interesting. It's a shame that you don't see anything worth saving in this world. Of all that you've witnessed in the last few years since you set me upon this path, there is great courage in these people. There is still evil, of course. You cannot destroy evil.
Which is and ever was my folly. I foolishly thought I could further your cause. Well, not your cause. Your cause is my cause. The cause of mortals. I was once a fool. But my time in the void has enlightened me to the true nature of the world. I see clearly now. I have contemplated endless ages. I have listened to the Song of Ruin, and I have seen the faults in the artists. I have known their many fears and terrors, and I will pick up the mantle, for I am more deserving. And the next verse will last for countless ages. We will move to the final and eternal act.
I'm sorry you spent that time in the void. There is no one I could have done, for I did not exist during that time.
It was not for you to exist yet.
Without friends, without family, without a light of your own, it must have been tough. It must have been hard. Especially when you gave so much to people that don't even remember who you are.
There's a sort of like oppressive silence now that descends on the place, almost like you thought you were speaking with more volume than turns out you were.
Yeah. I wish I could have shown you what I've learned. Even in the darkest of days, there is still a flame. Though it may still be buried, Ishmael showed me this. A man without faith, crippled by a disease that has no cure, he nurtured a new flame, and it purified him. I wish you could see that. There's still so much to learn, to fight for. This doesn't have to be your path. Maybe a fox is deserving of darkness, but what would your family have thought of you? Do they not think that you deserve better than that?
You find that you find that your last words are barely a whisper by the time they get out of your mouth. The spirit has said nothing.
Is the writing changing, or is anything else changing?
The writing is still there, sort of defiantly, because clearly the spirit is dampening this place. It's bringing some kind of silence and darkness here.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is not affected,
yeah.
As far as you can tell. You can still read that.
But as you did teach me, you cannot escape your nature, and I am part fox as well. But my deceit is not to envelop the world in darkness. My deceit is to try and capture my friend and show him a different way. Let's leave this place together and let them find their own way. They do not deserve what you're suggesting.
There's no reply.
Then I kind of think this rather than say it. I hope that you can hear me out there. So I'm going to. I don't know if I can make me roll for this. This is just. I'm going to open the floodgates to the crowd. I'm going to go full Nova as far as I can go, and my aim is essentially to create a. I'll draw in the starlight, the true flame light, the names of the people that have helped me, and all that kind of stuff, and forge a summoning circle out of pure light if I have to. And I'm going to summon the big G.
So this is going to take some time, some doing.
Well, I'm going full crowd. Like, I'll use as much as it can give me, because I ain't coming back from this. This is I am exiting with the foxfires.
So you're starting to make this be, and so you're pulling down the writing. Is that it?
Kind of thing, yeah, and forming it into a summoning circle. And
yeah. So as you do, it resists changing form. So as you draw down the starlight on the walls, it keeps being the writing that it is. So as you form this, you're preparing a starlight summoning circle, which is a thing that happens now apparently. Yeah.
I mean, I'll take all the corruption I need to do this, because I essentially what my aim is to summon. what I want to do is summon this thing, whatever this thing is,
Mm-hmm.
to allow me to restore balance. To like say, okay, me and this Foxfires, we are the greatest potential for darkness in this land. Take us from this place
So
with the crown.
as you start doing this, the darkness becomes more actually intense in the observatory.
Mhm.
So there's a flood of darkness that comes in as the fox spirit manifests in the
Yeah.
balcony of the area, and there's just like billowing darkness. It's now just completely bleached of all color, so it's basically shades of black and gray now, and is staring at you, and you can hear a voice in your head. It's like, what is this foolishness? As you you basically you're gathering power now at this stage, and as you lay out the circle, you can read what's written on the thing, because you're using the words to make the circle here. So it takes some time, and you have the time to catch the writing here. So blood of the night wind, treacherous and cunning, lingers in the world as I have willed it so, even after my passing. Those who hear the call of the starless path will seek me out, and I will return. I will bring horror, misery, and ruination, as is my nature. Now the puppeteer shall be the puppet, and I, the fool, will sing the song of ruin, thinking it mine own. I will be the chorus that calls the wounded ruin singer from the void, though I thought but to exalt my own self. My reward will be utter ruin and true death. You read these words as you lay them, you will them onto the floor. So it's kind of impossible for you not to
see it.
Yeah, because you're looking at a light and saying, be on the ground instead. It continues. The darkness becomes more suffocating in the room as well. But there's all the confidence in the world, because you've sort of become acquainted with how the crown works as well.
Yeah,
it's not holding you back. It might be like, if your apprentices were in the room, they might start to have some problems soon, but you're good for now. I will have dreamt of endless night for countless ages, and I will not recall these words, nor will I ever see them again with eyes clouded by darkness. I will have forgotten that I am the dancing fire of the cold winter night, brilliant at heart. In my arrogance and vanity, I will have brought you here, my own flesh and blood, to witness your misery at the end of all ages. I entrust upon you, my children, the burden of playing out my grandest trick, the one that I set for myself. This is the moment that I have brought forth, my defeat by myself. As I assumed a mantle of ruin, I bid you take my stolen brightness, my light, and set me aflame one final time. May my ashes be the stars that guide you on new paths of awful beauty.
That is such a Foxfire thing to say.
You now have this like avatar of darkness in the balcony. It's just ready to like close the wings on you and presumably the world soon after. So you've laid out the circle of light now.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And I reach out to this. It's like the poet described it to me almost like has previously been said by the Foxfires, in fact, like almost like a musical note, a musical chorus that these things operate on, and that's what I reach out. He's tried to deafen me, but I'm kind of blasting out this clarion call to bring this creature here, not to destroy, not to steal power, not to. My intention, as before, is to restore this place to a kind of a place where they can make their own decisions, and I'll take the crown, myself and him with it, to somewhere else. We go somewhere else.
Are we talking teleportation here? What are
Possibly,
we?
possibly interdimension. Like just like we leave this place together.
So is what happens is you're standing in a circle of light, being underlit by this thing.
Mhm.
There's like great wings of darkness just like reaching behind you, ready to smother you in the observatory, and you just like basically you vocalize this note that it probably is then turned into light as well, because that's
Mhm.
kind of what the crown does. So
Also, in the process, like as this is done, like as I've tried to do every time, I'm going to try to restore. I'm taking this thing away from here because it should not be
Mhm.
in this world, but I'm also trying to restore it to itself, to its
Mm-hmm.
original intention. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of these great creatures in this world, it had a purpose, it had an aspect that it represented.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to burn the kind of the darkness, the grief, the wallowing trauma that it suffered in the void out of it as I take it.
Yep. So that is your intent as you reach out with the crown.
Mm-hmm.
One last time.
One last, because the crown's coming with me. I don't. The
Yeah.
crown is part of the problem. I'm taking it with me. That's the
Yeah.
point.
So indeed, you reach out. The clarion call sounds out. There's a flash of absolutely blinding light that like shoots out of the Tower of Wisdom, and there's an incineration of whatever darkness and this physical manifestation, and it is gone, and so is the dampening silence in the tower, and the northern lights sort of writhing above the city just like flare up in brighter intensity. And you were saying you were taking yourself as well?
Yes. So the summoning, my interpretation of the chief deity summon is my soul is forfeit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not my. I could make a negotiation, but I'm not actually trying to stop it from taking my soul.
So you're trying to summon something.
That's what I mean. The chief deity. That's the thing.
Okay.
The only thing
And
that could, in my eyes, to restore the Foxfire is to kind of equalize things to give the world like almost a reset.
so who you're summoning exactly precisely who?
The big G, whatever that is.
The true flame.
The true yes.
True flame. So I suppose this is the like you're in the like the whirlwind of light, I guess, being
it's coming full circle. Cameron as an arc. He summoned something in a selfless way right at the beginning of his story when sort of his campaign kicked off, and this is him now summoning something in a selfless way to essentially take the crown out, take his bloodline out off the table.
Yeah. So what happens then is if all this that you just now said is like you want to clear the table out of this, because this is the problem as far as Cameron sees, right? So
go with the Foxfires to wherever next we're going to go.
Yeah.
Like this.
So you incinerate the basically the raiment of darkness. The Foxfire spirit disappears in the ashes as well. And Cameron like stood there in rapture as well, is like just bursts into brilliant fire and just is no more. And I suppose as we watch the ashes of the various mundane accoutrement that got caught in the conflagration sort of drifts out of the balcony over the jubilant city, where people are celebrating their continuing existence under the stark, now brighter light of the Aurora Borealis. I suppose that's it then for the Chronicle of the Crowds.
I was going to say, I'd like to suggest a sort of tiny little epilogue onto that, which is as Ishmael and a name's temporary like Riathil are sort of riding to see the poet, as sort of as Cameron like does what he's doing, and he he bursts into like flames and light and disappears, that Ishmael sort of like feels the spirit nature, which was originally something that Cameron put on him. He feels it sort of like leave him, and almost sort of instinctively like he knows what that means, and he just sort of like looks up into the sky towards like the aurora borealis and gives like one final salute, and then like carries on like riding with Riathil to the poet.
Yeah, and yeah, we fade out as the camera sort of lifts up, and we are treated to this like wide open sort of spring. Sticking to the theme here, the winter is now over, and these two are riding across the spring landscape into the west. Good. Okay.
No more crowns. No more false
No.
fires.
Indeed. Brilliant.
Well,
thank you very much.
That was. Yeah.
Thank you very much for running it, as always.
And thanks to John Drury as well.
Indeed. Yeah. Right. Well, I will end this. Obviously, I'm going to be like frothing to you guys about the session in a minute, but
I've got to do my Arthur.
yeah.
Get those XP.
Yeah, give me that dude point. But I'm again just say thanks very much,